Okay, here we go. Turn that off. Okay. That's right, my phone was charging over here. Okay. I'll go ahead and post about the stream being live. Hey, Trigger, how's it going? Alright. I'll let people file in as usual before I get started. Let's see. Here we go. All right. Hey, Braden Bunch, how you doing? How's it going? I clicked on the wrong thing there. That's not what I wanted. Hey, Brian, how you doing? How you doing? Hey, Richie. Had to move to a new house last week. It was hard work, but now I can relax. Yeah, I'm glad. Hopefully everything went well and everything else. Cool. All right. Yes, I did hear about Alex Zanardi. Very heartbreaking, but just one of the most toughest race car drivers there is. So I hope he's at peace wherever he may be, and everything else. So, I just the ups and downs he's had throughout his career and everything else. But yeah. I sure can't wait to fly to Texas for the race on Spirit Airlines tomorrow morning. Yeah, Spirit Airlines. Rest in peace. How's it going, Floyd? Yeah. So, just letting people file in. Obviously, today we will cover the Winston Cup section we'll do a director's commentary and Q&A for the Winston Cup part of 2001 Sunday Night Lights and all that fun stuff. I'll wait to talk about updates for a few minutes. I want to wait for a few more people to just kind of file in and all that good stuff. How's it going, BRX? Thank you guys so much for joining in. Appreciate it, as always. Thank you so much. Hope you all enjoying your weekend. Some real life stuff's been a little hectic for me, but everything's going pretty good. So just continuing to push on through and everything else and all that fun stuff. Bolade, how you doing? Time to some cues. That's right. I really need to update my name. Gotcha. Hey, Benjamin, how you doing? Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Definitely some things I want to talk about first before we get to that, and I want to showcase a couple of things as well, and all that good stuff. So, we should never left Texas World because Texas Motor Speedway is garbage for NASCAR, not for IndyCar. Well, I don't think Texas is going anywhere just because of the market and where it is, but it would have been cool to see what it would have looked like if Texas World found a way to stick around, which obviously we do that in Sunday Night Lights. I think the track just lacked in facilities at the time, just ran out of money. And it sucks, but, what can you do? So, let's see. Have fun. Oh, wait. Yeah. First and foremost, just a little bit ago before the stream, I watched the Kentucky Derby like I do every year. Somebody who grew up in Kentucky, I've kind of been around that race. I went to the Derby as a kid one year, back in 2008. I wanted to bring it up because Golden Tempo made an incredible search for the win, and not only that, I wanted to bring this part up because of Sunday Night Lights. Sherry DeVoe, who is the trainer of Golden Tempo, the winner, she is the first female trainer to ever win the Kentucky Derby. Female movement, yeah. So I just wanted to bring that up. I thought it was cool, and I wanted to just say, like, hey, it kind of reminds me of Sunday Night Lights with Patty Moyes and Shauna Robinson. Speaking of which, I apologize because I think I've been saying Patty Moyes wrong, or it's Moyes, and I kept saying Moyes for so long. So I apologize, but you know what? No one's perfect, so. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. Thought it was really cool. Congratulations to Sherry DeVoe and Golden Tempo. That was pretty cool. So that was just kind of like, oh wow, first female trader to win the Run for the Roses. So how cool is that? You know, that's pretty neat. So, and not to mention, I mean, holy crap, the run that horse made at the end was wow. Anyway, yeah, I want to bring that up. Last time we talked, Carson Hocevar had not won a cup race. Now he has. Griff Dog and you have different ways of saying it. Yeah, I mean, you know, we all sound, talk, our accents are different, you know. What can you do? So, but, yeah, Carson Hocevar getting his first cup win, and I knew it would be cinematic when he did. I knew his first win was coming, and I really do believe, like, I agree with Mike Joy on this, that there is the birth of a superstar right there. I really believe it. At least I think it is. Because I think Hocevar has that capability of being a superstar-esque driver. So, Amy Ruman's name is pronounced Rue, not Ruman. Ruman, that's right. Yeah, you're right. But, yeah, so, and not to mention, good Lord, I was, like, worried about his celebration, because I'm like, oh, for the love of God, don't hurt yourself. But, I don't know. I think he knew what he was doing, and I had to point out that, as Alan Kowicki once said, I just wanted to do something people would remember me by, so there you have it. So, you know what? It all worked out, and he kind of did it last night with the truck race. Hocevar won before Zilich. Yeah, give it time. I think Zilich will win. I think the problem with Trackhouse right now, they have a lot of good things going for them, but I think ECR, and I can't help but wonder how much of it is the current Chevy body. I don't know. But at least I know ECR, I think, is holding them back. Big time. You know. Because that team should be more competitive than what they are. Like, you know. So. I'm excited to announce that UF women's volleyball coach will say the command for my league's race in Daytona. Oh, wow. That's really cool. That's awesome. So, Alan is why I run the 7. I'm surprised it wasn't banned too. I thought it would be one of those things where NASCAR would be like, okay, that was cool. Don't do that again. So, all I ask is, for the love of God, do not hurt yourself. That's all I ask. Please. So, that's all I ask. So, yeah, I mean, I could tell he was planning that for a long time. I think back, I first heard his name at the 2019 ARCA race at Gateway. And then, you know, he makes his Cup debut there a handful of years later in 2023. You know, and I was there in 22 when, you know, remember when he got hurt in that last lap wreck in the Truck Series at Gateway, and then I was at Mid-Ohio a few weeks later, and there he was on crutches getting ready for the race. So it's just crazy to think how far he's come in a short amount of time, and I think this is the first of many for him, and I really think we should keep our eyes on Spire, because I think Spire might be the next big super team. They got the money, they got the people, they got the sponsors, they got the drivers. And I think they got everything they need. They got all the tools. And I'm really excited to see, because I'll be honest, I think Suarez could win a race. McDowell could steal a win on a road course or something. I think Hocevar won the pole and Suarez is next to him for tomorrow, which is just nuts. Like, holy cow. So, yeah. Let me catch up on some of these comments. It's also probably partially due to the other Chevy teams catching up on the next gen. I know at Vegas, Mike Joy mentioned that they were showing off a new body that's going to come out in the future, so maybe in the next year or two. Let's see, he was in the ARCA race there. He drove the number 28. Yep, yes he did. I remember that. I'm pretty sure I could dig out a photo. I probably have a picture somewhere. ARCA debut for Ty Gibbs and Corey Ham. Yeah, Ty Gibbs and Sam Mayer were fighting for the win in that Gateway race in 2019, and Gibbs moved him on the last lap to win, and the crowd was pretty energetic that night. And how about that? Of course, he got his first win recently, too. Could Kyle Busch go to Spire? Maybe. It's tough because I feel like, I think back to 23, and I was at the last race he's won so far. I do think it's more of RCR than it is KB. Although Kyle Busch has said that he's actually I know he has said that he's been enjoying driving for Richard Childress, which makes me wonder what was going on between him and Joe Gibbs. But I don't know. It's tough because Daniel Suarez is in a 1-year deal. But I think he's done enough to show that Spire could give him an extension. I mean, Spire locked up Hocevar into the 2030s, and, well, they knew what they were doing there. So, yeah, McDowell could absolutely win a super speedway, 100%. 100%. The 7 needs to go back to victory lane. Yeah, I would love to see that. Carson may win a championship in the next 5 years. I agree, 100%. I think Hocevar is good enough to win a championship. I'll even say if he was put in a Hendrick or Gibbs car, I think he would have won a good handful of races by now. But, Spire's a team on the rise. They've been on the rise, and I'm really excited to see what they can do moving forward. A little factoid / note for the far future. Jajan will just be named Hunter Nemechek. Yeah, that's just one of those things where we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So, but yeah, huge congrats to Hocevar. That was cool, and the Chili's car, the ride the Dente, and everything else. I mean, and of course, we've been hearing that Monster might be becoming a sponsor of his, which would be insane. But I've noticed in his pictures that Monster has been in it in some way, shape, or form. So I think he knows what he's doing. 2027, if McDowell retires, I think will be Suarez, Love, Hocevar. That's a good lineup. Yeah, I mean, Jesse Love will be interesting. Because if Kyle Busch leaves RCR, let's say he does, I think the 8 goes to Austin Hill. I think... I just think RC is more big on Hill, but that's just me. I've heard about Jesse Love potentially going to Legacy in that third car. And he deserves to go to Cup, 100%, should they have redo the 2023 championship race with just Rhodes, Enfinger, Hyman, Hocevar after the... Nah. That was back then. What happened, happened. I think people give Carson a lot of crap, and to me, he's somebody different. And that's why I think a lot of people have gotten behind him. His streams, just the stuff that he does, I mean, his car collection, I mean, I truly think that this could be a guy that you want to plaster as a major star of the sport moving forward. And be a guy that, even if someone doesn't watch NASCAR as much, they know who Carson Hocevar is, right? Corey Heim will go full-time in 27, Riley Herbst. Yeah, I think that's what's most likely going to happen. First and foremost, Corey Heim should be full-time in Cup already. That's just my honest opinion there. Yeah, I don't know. I think Carson can win the title soon, but if anyone other than Reddick wins the title this year, I'll be shocked. Yeah, I think Reddick is on track to win like 15 races this year, honestly. Yeah, so I don't know. It was nice to see Hocevar win, and I hope SVG can win on a road course, or heck, get an oval win somehow. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Allergies. Hello, Alex Lozano. How are you? Thank you for. Sorry you joined on me sneezing there, but thank you for joining. Love feels more willing to leave than Hill. RC probably knows he's the guy that can better provide for him than Jesse. Even yeah, I feel like, to me, Hill just seems more like a Richard Childress guy than Jesse Love does. But not going to take away. Jesse Love is a. Thank you, Blade. One of the best frames of SNL 2001 is the time step at 1:40:38. I have to, because I stopped right around that point. Oh well. Well, we'll get to that here shortly. Kind of just talking about some stuff that's been happening recently and everything else, but I guess the other bit of news is also Jim France, giving his CEO position over to Steve O'Donnell, Ben Kennedy getting promoted and everything else. I think Ben Kennedy has just been tremendous with everything, with the schedules and everything else, and bringing in new venues, new tracks, new ideas, and I think they'll continue to do so. Hill has O'Reilly lifer written all over him. I feel Hill's in the position where if he was going to be a Cup Series driver, I feel like he would have moved up already. Yeah, I feel that way with Ben Rhodes, and I'm a Ben Rhodes fan. He's a Kentucky boy. He's from Louisville. I've met him on a handful of occasions. Great guy. It's a bummer he hasn't gotten an opportunity on a higher level. I know he made like one Cup start back in 2021, but yeah. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Steve O'Donnell, because he's the new CEO. I know. I'll try not to ramble too much about this. The big thing for me is I know certain people are not fans of the France family, but I think if we want to continue to sell that NASCAR is a family sport, I think we should just be more consistent about it. And I think that the France family should be around in some capacity, even if eventually they sell off like half the stake of the sport to somebody new to come in, because there's a chance somebody new could come in and make a bunch of changes that some folks may not be a fan of, because they may want to move on break away from those traditions. But, I think if we want to sell that NASCAR as a family sport, we should be more consistent about it, is basically what I'm trying to say. So, that's just how I see it. Okay. This has been holding me back for a minute. I said to move on from the lawsuit. I'm going to say this one thing. I was bothered by what Steve Lauletta said about Jim France. I don't. I think in most sports, I think that kind of comment would not fly well, and it's just I wasn't a fan of it, and it still kind of bothers me. But anyway, I think Ben Kennedy ran the O'Reilly Truck Series, left to the part administration role. Yeah, something like that. I get the stuff mixed up sometimes. Somebody brought up the electric vehicle stuff. I know there was a lot of discourse about that. To me, it's, what did he say about France? It was like a text or an email that came out during the lawsuit, and basically, Steve Loletta said that NASCAR won't get better until Jim France kicks the bucket. Basically, he's like, probably when Jim France is unalives. Sorry, I'm trying to be friendly to YouTube, but you know what I mean. It just felt distasteful. I don't know. That's just, I wasn't a big fan of what he said there, but I got my opinions, and I don't expect everybody to agree with me, but at the end of the day, we're here to have fun, have conversations, and just all I ask is just be respectful to one another, be good to one another, because I think that's just the right thing to do. But with that being said, and again, there's a couple more things I want to jump into before I talk about, before we get into the director's commentary, because there is something I want to show you guys about Sunday Night Lights 2002. I have some screenshots prepared. I'll show you in a bit, because I want to show you guys something. So, I apologize this is taking long. Life's been a little crazy, but this video is happening, and I'm going to do everything in my power to get this video out within the next month. That is my hope, but we'll get to that. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what Mr. O'Donnell can do, and what Ben Kennedy does in his new role, and everything else. I know the Julie, I forgot her last name. She was like in charge of the Chicago street race thing. I think she's helping out with the schedules a lot more now, so I'm looking forward to seeing what she can do. Just see what happens, right? That's just kind of how I see it. So, not going to panic, not going to freak out. Let's just see what happens. New Divide by Linkin Park. Oh, love that song. Love me some Linkin Park, man. Love me some Linkin Park. I'm so glad I got to see them back in August of last year. That meant the world. I never got to see Chester, but Emily is amazing. Julie Gleason. Thank you, Jet. Thank you so much. Okay. I thought it was that. One of those times where I'm like, is that really what it is? Because I have to, I always, second guess myself. I'm like, is that what it is? I don't want to say the wrong thing. But, hey, Charlie, thank you for joining. How you doing? We're just having some discussions right now about some of the recent news in the sport. Real quick about the electric vehicle thing, or the CUV is basically what they're talking about. I think that, to me, I think a lot of that was just kind of thrown out of context, and there was just a lot of sudden panic. In my opinion, down the road, I could see maybe an electric series happening, kind of like what Formula E is. If a major change were to happen, it's not going to happen for a while. Not like in a couple years, maybe in a decade, Because remember, the current O'Reilly car is the car of tomorrow body that we've used since 2011. And let's say that body gets used for another decade, it's like 2035, then that car would have been used for a quarter of a century. But, things change, things happen, things evolve. So, we'll see how things are lining up. And the electric vehicles, the CUV cars are there for innovation and showing off new technologies. Again, I could see it being like a separate electric series. It's not like, NASCAR's going to go full electric in 10 years. That's not happening. No. If anything like that happens, it won't be for a long time, okay? It may happen someday, but not anytime soon. Think of it that way. Just, and whenever we cross that bridge, we'll cross that bridge. We'll improvise, adapt, overcome. The three words my dad's always taught me growing up. So, to me, I'm just like, well, see what happens. I got to see the showcase for those cars at Chicago last year. I thought it was cool. It was unique. They sounded like little RC cars going by. I was like, well, this is something different. It's kind of cool. I know it's a electric vehicle, but it's cool to showcase, in my opinion. NASCAR should use foot-powered vehicles like the Flintstones. Yes, yabba dabba doo. Oh gosh. The fact of the matter is that regardless of what the next car type looks like or what the engine it uses, manufacturers will stop spending money on a car used for 20 plus years. I think that's the problem too. And yeah, Ford kind of already has. I mean, look at that situation. So, and a lot of the stuff with the car comes down to what the manufacturers want, right? You know, from the rules package to the body to everything else, you know, that's just how the business is. And I wonder how tight the margins are between suppliers being tight for O'Reilly, how long they push this car. Yeah, because I think eventually, you know, you've used the same car for 15, 16 years now, so at some point, you know, you're going to have to look at, you know, what's next for that series, right? You know, so we'll see what happens. You know, I know I've kind of sound like a broken record saying that, but we'll see what happens there. Let's see. I had a couple tweets go viral. I did not expect my my Kentucky Speedway one to go viral because Mike Joy made a comment saying like how you know forgot about Kentucky Speedway. Most people have, and I was like, I haven't, you know. So, but obviously that was the track I grew up going to a lot. But I actually drove past it the other day going down to Louisville. But yeah, I was just like, holy crap! A lot of people like this street. Okay. Is it NORAPS or... I just called O'Reilly. I still catch myself saying Xfinity. But I'm like, O'Reilly, O'Reilly. You know what I'm saying? Could Honda or Cadillac join NASCAR? I'd love to see Honda come in. I think they're sticking with IndyCar, so I'm not sure if Honda's going to join anytime soon. I want to see a couple more manufacturers come in. You know, you get Dodge in there, or whoever the Stellantis brand will be in a couple of years, and then I'm assuming that'll be for 2028 at this point. We'll see. I don't know. They could be developing a Cup car right now. We don't even know it. So, kind of like, surprise! But, yeah. Cadillac is a GM brand, and if Cadillac were to come in, they would probably have to replace Chevrolet, and I don't know if GM would be willing to do that because Chevrolet is just such a big brand of NASCAR, and I don't know. You never know. I'd like to see... Yeah, Nissan joining NASCAR would be pretty neat. Nissan, Honda, being biased because I drive one, Mazda would be neat. I'd like to see a European brand come in. Someone like a BMW or Volkswagen or something like that. Imagine the Nissan Fairlady Z. I would assume that if Nissan comes in, they'll probably do the Sentra or Altima. I would guess. But, yeah, I mean, you know, I'd ideally would love to see a NASCAR where there's 5 or 6 manufacturers. I think it just brings in more money for the sport, brings in more exposure and everything else. So, yeah. Didn't Nissan just kill off their motorsports program? I don't remember. Did they cut something recently? I'm trying to remember. Mazda MX-5 Cup in Talladega. Zoom. But yeah, that would be cool. Let's see. Let me jump into talking about SNL02. I want Dodge to come in but not call themselves NASCAR winning until they actually do unlock rail. Fair. Man, Justin Haley got some airtime hitting the grass last night, too. Somebody already did the Rocket League meme with it. I was like, I should have known someone was going to do that. I should have known. But, yeah. Hopefully Ram can get a win here soon. I'm excited about McMurray and Boyer getting to hop in their free agent truck. I think that's a cool concept. I know Tony Stewart says he'd like to hop back into a truck at some point too, so yeah, that would be awesome. So SNL 2002, I'm happy to say that I began filming for the video. So yeah, I'm getting all the footage gathered up here, and then the races are done. We're still getting some cars finished up on painting. So yeah, I just wanted to give some progress. So things are coming along. There has been a large amount of cars we've been working on. I will bring in this snippet. We are doing the Looney Tunes schemes again, so I'll tell you all that. We are doing the Looney Tunes cars again. So Haley could have done the second Truck flick at Texas after Timothy Peters. Oh yeah, Fiat entering the Cup Series with the old Fiat 500. Oh gosh. So yeah, we're making good progress. I made some visual updates as well, and I think you guys may have noticed it from a recent post that I made. It involved Texas World, and that is I wanted to show you guys something, right? Because you guys have been waiting for so long. So if you guys will give me a second, I have a few screenshots I can share. Let's see. Okay, I thought my mic was muted for a second there. That would have sucked. Then 2003 is next in line this year. Yep. That's the plan. So I'm going to show some photos here. Hopefully they're not too messed up. Okay. Cool. So, I did some visual updates to Texas World. I just decided to show some empty track shots that I put together for you guys. So, I wanted to show you guys something, and I felt like it was time for Texas World to, showcase some innovation and grow as a track. Especially now that, that was the Texas World 90s track, and so I knew I was right about the Texas World updates. Yeah, it was something that I've had in my mind for a while, and thankfully I've learned a few more things in Sandbox. I've learned how to put in catch fences and stuff, so that now, because if you notice in past videos, the catch fences, you didn't see them in sections of turn 1 and 2 in the backstretch, but now they're all the way around. So are we allowed to hear who's jumping into the universe for 2002? I'll keep that a secret for now, but there's some names that I think you're going to be excited for. Yeah, the goal is still 03 and 04 within this year. That is still the plan. So I'm going to work to make that happen. First Riverside, then Atlanta, then Nashville, now Texas World. Who's next? I won't give anything away. I got a few more screenshots I can share with you guys. So, and just like other tracks that I've edited, they will not be available for download because I edited the track. We did not make it ourselves. We wouldn't feel right. Unless I were to get permission down the road, then, you could tell in this shot, I actually added the condominium from Texas Motor Speedway. They're off turn 2, just like in real life. And you can see the Samsung Radio Shack 500 logo, and I replaced the Texas Motor Speedway logo with Texas World. And let's see, will the tracks have those safer barriers? Yes. I do want to. I think I can figure out how to. So, let's see. Does Texas World host NASCAR and IndyCar? Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. Just upload it with credit by the original creator. Okay. I don't want to cause any problems, right? I didn't want someone to be like, hey, what are you doing? I don't want to cause any trouble, so maybe I'll look into it. But, yeah, I'll look into that. How are we handling Brian Vickers? Okay, I'll talk about this. I'm not going to say where he'll be, but I will handle him like I did Rick Crawford. He'll just be back there. He'll just be there. Not going to make it a fanfare or anything. He's just going to be, he's there. I'm not going to, because that's just one of those things. And, it sucks, because it's like, obviously, his involvement with all that is awful. But, yeah. I imagine Texas World would have a similar feel to the Indy 500. Not as big as Indy, but had the same strategy of being a statewide event. Yeah, because it's located in College Station. And I think Texas World could pull that off, especially that in this timeline. I think NASCAR is even bigger than it is in real life at this point. So, I think they could pull in everybody, a lot of folks from Dallas and Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and give it that its own special feel, essentially. Make it stand out, in a sense. There are some people who are rather anal about you adding their tracks even if you give credit. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't want to cause any problems. So, yeah, we'll see. Oh, sorry, I need a drink there. So, let me show couple more screenshots and we'll get moving. So there's a shot of the front stretch there. The grandstands I used, if you can't tell, are the Auto Club grandstands from, or I should say, California. This was from the default track, by the way, and the press box too. I actually tried to reskin the press box up there. Could Texas World be an alternative kart, make their own Indy 500 similar to the US 500? Possibly. Like I said, I think it would make for a good open world track. No one likes that person in the community. I know exactly what you're talking about. When did the Hans device come into effect? I see Mobile One has replaced the Exxon branding. Yeah, so obviously I did adjust some of the signs along the track as well, and wanted to make it feel like it was 2002, but modern for the time, But it made, obviously there was the Mobile Exxon merger, so I just slapped Mobile One on there and everything else, so, excuse me. It's fun messing around in Sandbox once you kind of figure out how to get things to work. Yes, the open wheel split still happens in Universe. Texas World could be. Again, I haven't really covered kart, IndyCar a whole lot because obviously this has just been mainly NASCAR oriented, but I think it's certainly possible that I actually wonder then if, because the 2001 kart race at Texas got canceled because it was deemed too dangerous. I would wonder, does that, because Texas Motor Speedway isn't here and we have Texas World, are there just no problems there, right? Because I think even though despite the high banking, I feel like Texas World is a lot more just wide open and wider. And, I think it's just a little bit easier. I mean, instead of those things whipping around a 1.5 mile circuit like Texas or Vegas. So, why is Rusty Wallace's paint scheme different than in real life? I think it's just the fact that it's an alternative universe and things have played out differently. And yeah, it's basically just another Michigan, which had kart. So I've always been a fan of tracks like Michigan anyway. I just love the big 2 mile ovals like that. I just love what they bring, Okay, kind of bouncing all over the place. So, we've been trying to just, be a little different about paint schemes. So, I know Rose Gem made Rusty's paint scheme, and they just wanted to have a different take with it. So, yeah. USAC IndyCars did a race. Yeah, that's right. Non-NASCAR events happen as close to real life as reasonably possible. We don't explicitly make anything canon outside the occasional piece that actually affects NASCAR, like Greg Moore and Kenny Brack. And obviously, Fontana doesn't have a track here. Instead, you have SoCal Speedrome, which opened in 2000. So I would think, the race that we lost Greg Moore in, where Greg Moore didn't lose his life in this timeline, that race is probably Riverside. So the 2002 Surfers Paradise Kart Rain Race still happens. Yeah, probably. Okay, I'm getting off topic here. One more photo. So I talked about how I added the condominium that Texas Motor Speedway has in real life. So I decided to just implement that here for Texas World. So sits there off turn 2, just like Texas Motor Speedway. I thought it would just be a nice little add-on there, kind of like a reference to, Texas Motor Speedway a little bit. And obviously, like, down the road, my goal is with certain tracks that I've been needing to, like, visually update. The goal is to update them every handful of years, just depending on, the time, the sponsors, of course, figuring out safer barriers and stuff like that. We definitely will implement those. War of the Worlds still happen in the SNL universe? My mind's eluding me. Is that a movie, I think? But, yeah. So I just wanted to show off something here today and show off a bit of stuff that I've worked on. So, as you can see, I added the catch fencing now along the entire track because it didn't have that before. I'm really glad a car didn't fly over the wall because that probably would have been a redo. Oh, wait, it was that Oh, okay. Okay. Was that the one, Ice Cube? It's the okay, I'm sorry. I know what you're talking about now. Good Lord, I had a brain fart. It's been I'm in the midst of an 8-day work week. I apologize. Okay, I got you. Ice Cube. Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's you? It's you! That one. So, okay. God, okay. That took me a moment. I apologize. I almost forgot about that Ice Cube movie. Oh my gosh. Love me a good meme. But, yeah. Okay. So, yeah. 2002 is being worked on. I'm currently in the midst of filming stuff. And we're finishing up on cars that need to be painted. And I'm going to work hard to get this video out. I'd like to get it out within the next month. So, that's going to be the goal. Because I want to wish that movie away. Yeah, so maybe I should use Ask Jeeves to learn more about Texas World Apart. Oh, man. Yes, pour one out for Ask.com, by the way. Former NASCAR sponsor. Remember when they were the official search engine of NASCAR at one point? Sponsored Bobby Labonte in the 96. Who is the driver coming into the series in the next couple of seasons who you want to see last longer than they did in real life? Ooh, that's a fun question, Floyd. You know what? David Stremme would be kind of cool, and I think it's just because of like how he turned out in Griff Dog's Dale Earnhardt series. Wouldn't it be fun if that somehow got replicated, right? So, another guy is Reed Sorensen, just because, like, I feel like he was a big what if. Because I think that's a guy who got rushed way too soon, right? If he had another year or two in Busch, I think his career would have been a whole lot different, but that's just me. But, yeah. So, certainly something to think about moving forward, but obviously we're still a few years away from that. Justin Allgaier? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he started running in ARCA almost around this time, didn't he? Again, it just comes down to what makes the most sense and who would be where and that kind of stuff, so. Casey Mears. You will hear about him soon. So. I admit I've been making a sheet of like guys who come in, of notable guys who come in and stuff like that, and just kind of have a list of like, okay, here are the new set of drivers that come in. You know, what do we do with these guys? Where could they be? Where do they go? You know, and that's just part of the process of what we do to talk about certain things. So we're making good progress. We could have Justin Marks in SNL now if we really wanted to. That is true, because he was already running at this point. So he was doing his sports car stuff. Update on my friends enter 2003 simulation. Sorensen took Vickers' spot in the 25. Dale Jr. and Kelly Earnhardt are now majority owners of DEI with Kevin Grubb as their Busch driver. Oh, nice. I know Squared, I think it's called. His is more like a career, driver career simulation, but I know he had Reagan Smith take the 25 in 2005 and literally won the Pepsi 400 in his first race, I think it was. So that was kind of crazy, but what if Danica goes to the sports car route and runs NASCAR from the start? Michael McDowell is eligible too. Yeah, I mean, McDowell and Allmendinger, they were the last two of the Champ Car guys before the merger back in the IndyCar. So we'll talk more about all this. I want to, let's see. Okay, let me see here. All right, let's jump into this because I've rambled on enough. So let's at least, jump into this. Just give me a second here. Okay, cool. Have to double check some things. And Carl Edwards is destroying everyone in the rookie battle. Nice. Okay. Sander does it again. And now it is time for the 2001 NASCAR
If it's
Winston
too loud,
Cup
please
Series,
let me know and I'll
where
adjust the volume.
Last year, it was a fun battle between Rusty Wallace and Shauna Robinson, with Wallace taking home his 5th Winston Cup Series championship. And now he begins his quest for 6, as well as finally winning that elusive Daytona 500. The 2001 Winston Cup season sees 2 schedule changes, one of which you saw already. Kansas Speedway has been built, and it will host its inaugural Cup race in the fall. It takes the place of the spring Dover race. Additionally, Darlington gets its second points race back after hosting the All-Star race last year. As for this year's All-Star race, we have a notable host, the Nashville Fairgrounds.
You're good?
And here's why.
Okay.
With Nashville Super Speedway opening in the suburbs, a track with more space and better amenities, NASCAR will be moving their Winston Cup date to Nashville Super Speedway in 2002.
And I will say about Nashville Super Speedway,
NASCAR
I
will
did
be
visually
supporting
update the
fairgrounds as a
infield
track
logos
for
as
the Lower
well.
Series for years to come, and closes out the Winston Cup's chapter. The track
Might be good to slowly turn down the volume. Okay, I was wondering about that. Give me a second here. Sorry. Okay.
with a marquee.
Hopefully that's a little bit better.
The fairgrounds farewell.
Yeah, it got sent off respectfully, for sure.
No story bigger heading into the 2001 season than Dodge's return to the Winston Cup Series. Let's begin with their lineup. As previously mentioned, Ray Evernham is buying out most of the
Might be good.
Elliott
Okay, so the
to become the Dodge flagship.
another what if Blaze
Bill
Alexander.
Elliott will remain in the new look number 9 car.
Who'd you say has the best career compared to real life?
While young Casey
You cannot
Elliott
say Bubba Nissen or the Sapco trio.
FC Dodge. The 1994
Oh man.
Ricky pilots the third
I mean, actually Ricky Rudd, I mean,
Team Dodge.
he has a Daytona 500 and a championship here.
Dodge dealers sporting an all-red look for Speed Weeks. And
You could turn it up a bit more.
and longtime
Is it too
sponsor
quiet, guys?
Gatorade, who remains with Rudd in a smaller capacity following their purchase by PepsiCo. Chip Ganassi Racing is all new.
Oh yeah, that Dodge Rider was made by a Jet.
Univer SS Motorsports team. To start up their program, Chip has brought in 2 veterans. In the new number 01 car is Ken Schrader. He makes a Winston Cup comeback after some winning years with Dodge in the Truck Series. Meanwhile, in his second car, the
Yep.
number 85 Dodge,
Blender
is
is
the Iceman, Terry Labonte.
Blender is certainly fun to
After
play
a
with.
disappointing set of seasons and a
I've been
long
working on
road
some
stretch,
renders
Terry Labonte leaves
for
Joe
sure.
Gibbs Racing to pursue this new opportunity. Terry Schoonover, meanwhile, retires.
The other thing I'm hoping for is that Streamlabs doesn't decide to mute me. So if I suddenly like am talking but like you guys don't hear me, let me know. So I'm taking a bit of a. It's a bit quiet. Okay, hold on. Let me fix. Okay.
But in their new number 82 sits Kelly Williams. Last year,
Oh yeah, the target card. Yeah,
who looks like she could become
definitely a great style.
blooming star. Home Depot moves up with her, sports a new look on the 82. And lastly, Dodge did have one more team join
But
the
yeah,
fray, the Celebrity
if-
Motorsports team, which Rudd raced for last year.
if by any chance that I stop talking, it sounds like I stopped talking at some point. It's probably because Streamlabs did a funny and decided to mute me, because I know sometimes when I exit away from the window, it'll mute me. So, yeah.
Kickstart their program. And with the amount of veterans on the team, it will be equally exciting to see them grow throughout the coming decade as new stars enter the picture.
Stream setup reveal. Yeah, it's not ideal. I didn't like that I tried to make the screen bigger, but I wanted to see if just full screening this is better. So actually, I have the stream pulled up on mute on my laptop as well, just to see the comparison. So yeah, but yeah, my stream setup is not all that fancy, you know. I need to do a mic upgrade at some point. I need to do that.
That would be the 42 team of Kyle Petty.
Oh yeah, Casey Elliott, yeah, for sure. Answer that one, best career compared to real life, yeah.
LEL scaling back their partnership to a few races and a personal deal, while UPS takes the primary. He wants to race the truck, but a Pontiac will do. Another big story has to do with
race the truck, Kyle.
Racing. Gibbs has had a very unique legacy to this point, being unable to get his Cup team to victory lane, but being a force to be reckoned with in NASCAR's lower series. With this in mind, Gibbs makes a bold change and turns to one of his former players. Joe Gibbs and Mark Rypian are merging their operations.
Volume could be turned up a
Chad
bit.
Little, the former Daytona 500 winner and Busch Series champion,
Okay. I apologize. Let's do that.
Over the number 17 car. The team enters a new era with another driver proven to win and is looking to finally break through. As previously mentioned, Interstate Batteries is now a partner of AK Racing. A new sponsor, DeWalt Tools, takes over at Gibbs. Last year's Busch Series champion goes full-time in a Ford Penske car, the number 02 Mobil 1 Ford. Blaze Alexander and Kelly Williams will compete for Rookie of the Year. After his one-year deal at AJ Foyt with DEI, Dale Earnhardt Jr. moves over to his father's team, and the number 8 gets a new style on the Oreo Chevrolet. The Foyt car is taken over by Jeremy Mayfield, moving over from the shuttered American Equipment team.
DeWalt 17 on a Pontiac, right? It's funny how we still got the DeWalt 17 after all this, right? But it's on a Pontiac instead of a Ford.
As for other full-time changes, Joe Nemechek takes over the number 4 at Morgan McLaren Motorsports, and Todd
Kelly
Blythe
Williams
takes over
was
the Dallas Carter team from the
Canadian
retiring
star,
Darrell Waltrip, renumbered to 26.
was a female driver in
This
like
team's
the
former sponsor,
Canadian stock
Tide,
car.
moves
Yeah,
over to
cast car.
sponsor the
Yeah.
MB236 team of Wally Dallenbach. As in
Wally's
real life,
World.
MB2 also takes in the former Tyler Jet 10 team, with Bobby Hamilton staying in the car.
Bobby.
Lastly, Al Unser Jr. remains in the 33 for Andy Petrie, but Squarity takes over sponsorship of the team. Warner's sponsorship heads to Richard Childress Racing, where America Online will become a secondary sponsor for Rob Moroso, as well as their part-time team. Childress's part-time team will
Herbie
split
Fully
between
Loaded and Talladega
Busch
Nights
Chick
still be
Jimmy
made?
Johnson at a variety of
Yeah.
tracks, his
Yeah, they'll
teammate
still be
Jay
made.
Sauter at a pair of short tracks, and Chevy's new stock GT driver Boris Said at 3 road courses. As for other notable part-timers,
Sapco's 47 car remains for a few races each for Ron Fellows and Adam Petty, and Robbie Gordon remains in the 27 car for Eel River Racing, now sponsored
It's crazy
by
to think
Dukes
I've
Mayo.
reached the early
Tim
2000s
Richmond
at this
will run
point.
a few Cup races in a fourth Hendrick car once again. The Wood Brothers
Tim?
Racing rotation gets a refresh, as Dick Trickle will remain the primary driver, but 2 lower series champions will also get their chance at the Cup.
Jemai.
Former truck champion
Jemai.
Tony Roper will run a handful of races, including the Daytona 500, while the stock GT
How long will
champion
Alan
Mark
Jr.
Simo
last in the
produce
33?
a road course race. New Team Bam Racing will enter a few
Depends.
races, split between Greg Sachs
Certainly
and Andy
depends.
Hillenberg, while David Keith and Dave Blaney will split the new
Danica
Team
should be a stock
CLR
GT
ride.
regular.
Busch
Server
Series
career.
driver Ricky
Yeah,
Johnson
you never know.
will run a few races in Michael Kranofus's new 84 team, and Hermie Sadler will also run a few races in the number 13 for Score Motorsports.
Hermie.
20 drivers, 20 laps, all for bragging rights, as Kyle Petty led the field to the green flag, sporting in his new UPS colors.
Yeah, I guess we'll get to look at the
kick off
Daytona 500 again,
Budweiser
too.
shootout. The dominant car of the day belonged to the number 1 McDonald's Ford of Jeff Gordon, as
Jeff.
he led for the second half of the race. Behind him was the Swede Kenny Brack, looking to give Hendrick Motorsports some momentum moving forward. With 2 laps to go, Kenny Brack went to the inside of Gordon going in the turn 1.
Somebody asked
Kenny
about
Brack
Kmart.
took the lead.
I'm gonna go.
However, he had to hold off the veterans of Ricky Rudd and
Yeah, the
Alan
the
Kawicki.
Kmart bankruptcy
Down the
still
back
happens.
stretch and into turn 3, Ricky Rudd
If
found
I
the
haven't
right time
said that
to
already, I
strike.
think I've talked about it before
Ricky
though.
Rudd gets by Kenny Brack coming to the checkers, and a statement was made by Dodge right away. Ricky Rudd collects the win at the Bud Shootout in his new ride at Evernham Motorsports. This was also Rudd's second shootout win, as he won it back in 1985. Let's hop over to the Gatorade Twin 125s, as Tony Stewart scored the pole for the 43rd Daytona 500, and he led the field
Then there was
alongside his
Springsteen,
teammate Dale
Madonna,
Earnhardt Jr.
way before
to the
Madonna.
green flag to kick off the first dual race. It was a clean and calm race, as it ran with no cautions. Towards the end, Chad Little led the way with 3 laps to go, with Carl Long in second. Indeed, that is true. And Rodney Orr in 73
Forgot
was in
about
the
that.
race too, but the stronger cars prevailed, as Alan Kawicki surged his way to the lead, coming to the white flag, but then Jeff Green pounced on the final lap. Green had the lead, but Tony Stewart came charging at the last second. He runs out of time, and Jeff Green hangs on to win Duel 1, and he will start third in the Great American Race. Jeff Gordon won the pole for the second dual race, with John Nemechek starting along him, and the race was very similar to dual race number 1, calm and no wrecks. Matt Kenseth and Mark Martin were leading
I
towards
typo
the
there at
end.
the bottom.
Then Martin led the way with 3 laps to go. But then on the final
Will the
lap,
Dale Jarrett
and
tribute
once
UPS
again
commercial
in
still happen
turn
with Kyle
3,
Petty?
Ricky Rudd did
Yeah,
the same
probably.
thing as he did
Carl
in the
Long
shootout.
cheated earlier in our
Ricky
time.
Rudd will win dual race number 2, and he will start 4th in the Daytona 500. It was a stacked field of drivers trying to make the race, which meant some drivers had to go home. Those who did not qualify for the Great American Race were Rick Mast, Bobby Hamilton, Tammy Jo Kirk, Todd Bodine, Morgan Shepherd, Ward Burton, Jeremy Mayfield, Tony Roper, and Al Unser Jr. The day is February 18th, 2001. It's a picture-perfect day in Daytona Beach, Florida, and we
What
are
did
set
Carl
and
Long
ready
do?
to go for another NASCAR.
It was like
Cup
back in
Series
2009.
season, and perhaps
He got
one of the most anticipated
suspended
Daytona 500s
for,
in NASCAR
pretty sure it was an
history.
illegal engine or something like that. Hold on, let me look this up. Yeah, he was fined $200,000 after his engine was discovered to be 0.17 cubic inches over the regulation size during practice for the Sprint Showdown. Largest fine in history until 2013 when there was the spin gate ordeal.
All through the winter months, throughout the off season, it all comes down to this very moment. Many stories are about to be written. Keep an eye on the pace car, about to make that.
We just weren't
hard
ready
left
for the
down
Carl
pit
Long
road.
sweep.
Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon will lead the field of 42.
I remember when I was
drivers
putting
looking
this
to
together,
chase a dream to the start.
I
Terry
wanted to make this
Bradshaw has
special,
the green flag in hand, ready
you know,
to go, and the 43rd
just because of the
Daytona
significance
500
this race
is
had in real
underway.
life. Petty had an engine that was 24 cubic inches too big. Oh, dang.
Down the backstretch for the first time this afternoon as Tony Stewart will lead the field down. Jeff Green behind him, but Sterling Marlin fields in the inside line with Alan Kawecki, the 1998 winner. Stewart dips down back to
Just
the
wanted to
inside
mention
as
that
they
I
go
am
into
working on my
turns
own
3 and
project
4.
called the Domino Theory.
Look at this.
It's a project that I've been working on for the
Picture-perfect
past 3
start
years.
to
A
the Great American
passion
Race
project,
as
if you will.
Sterling Marlin
Oh, that's
works his way
awesome!
to second.
I love
Roger
seeing
Penske
people.
has yet to
I love
win a
seeing people
Daytona
make
500.
NR2003 stuff like
Especially we
what
talked
I
about
do. I
Russell
love seeing other
Wallace,
people.
but Penske now has
I love seeing other people make stuff like that. The
The
TV deals still happen? Yes, the Fox NBC deal. Yeah, that still happens, 100%.
The 22 of Sterling Marlin, who has had a really good career ever since joining Penske, but can he get a marquee win here today? Behind Sterling Marlin, the 1991 winner. He won this race a decade ago with his family operation. That's Eddie Bierschwell driving for Cal Wells' PPI Motorsports. But he gets shoved up high. Here comes Wally Dawn back in the 36. And Chad Little, he won this race 2 years ago. That was with Mark Rypian, who is now teamed up with Joe Gibbs this season. Their teams merged. A new look on that 17 team. Can they get a good start of the season? Perhaps make some noise. Terry Labonte also in the mix, the former driver of that 17 car. One of the new Dodge teams this season.
Squared has an interesting schedule. Yeah, he definitely shakes up his schedules in his career mode. Yeah. It's cool to see people make stuff like that, though.
Down the backstretch, Sterling Marlin continues to lead in early going.
Excuse me.
Chad Little looking for second place here from Wally Dawn back as they head into turn 3. Plenty of action here early, and still many more to come. This is the Daytona 500. Who is going to join the history books next?
But yeah, I knew that this race had so much of a significance in real life, so I really wanted to make sure that I put as enough emphasis as I could to make this race truly stand out, and I think it all worked out. Because I've talked about how this race finished, and in a way, we got the finish that we could have gotten, in a sense.
A good head start towards running after her second title here today. She leads the Daytona 500. Of course, you remember 1994 when she shocked the world. 95, she almost got it done again. She is chasing her third Daytona 500 victory.
Square goes to America, Mexico, Canada, and Germany all in 1 year.
Yeah. Imagine if his first career Cup win came right here in the Daytona 500. Now, that would be special.
Yeah, the races are simulated, so for Cup it's 35%. Busch is 30. I think I run IROC at 35 or 30. Trucks and Super Sportsman do 25.
12 laps
and I think stock
GT
I do 25. Some tracks I do alter just because sometimes, like for instance the Daytona Road Course, actually Mid-Ohio is a good example of this. Like 35% is like would take 3 hours to complete. It just had so many laps, so I would literally change it to like 10% because it was like 50 laps for Mid-Ohio, which made more sense. But yeah, that's basically how I do. That's basically how I run the races. Because if I ran them at 100%, I would still be in like the mid-90s probably. So
now you see Sterling Marlin going to the inside.
I guess I never implied race distances in my videos. I apologize. I'm glad you brought it up though, Floyd. I'm glad you brought that up. So yeah, I just felt like that was a good number to have where the races were not too long, but it was long enough to where stuff can happen, right?
Turns 3 and 4. Jeff Gordon with heavy damage. Chad Little
So,
to be involved.
just them being long enough for stuff to happen.
Pull up the replay. No caution, by the way.
I still don't know how this was not a caution. I was like, that's not a caution? Okay, sure.
May have gotten into contact with, looks like the 85 of Labonte, and oh man, Jeff Gordon just had nowhere to go. A tough break for Gordon. He really wanted to win a Daytona 500, wanted to start the season off strong, but unfortunately, his Daytona 500 hopes are dashed, and just unfortunate for that number 1 McDonald's team here today.
Poor Jeff.
The 0-1 of Ken Schrader. He goes to the inside of Sterling Marlin. It's been quite some time since he's led some laps in the Cup Series, but here it is. Ken
It's the
Schrader
2008
out
Texas
front
race all
in
over
the
again.
Daytona 500. Chip Ganassi
Super Sportsman races are at 25%.
Trying to get his team built for the future.
Who was the unluckiest driver in SNL?
Drivers capable of doing
Oh,
some
man.
great things with this new team.
I guess Moroso, just because it's like, how has he not won a title, right? But also, he still had a great career. I mean, you know, he's accomplished quite a lot.
Jeff Green had a
Say he's
great year last
probably
year, hoping to build off of that again this year. And
probably
Dale
among the
Earnhardt
best
to the
to
inside
not have won a
as
championship
well.
or 500 so far.
Into turn 1, Earnhardt's going to look to get second from Jeff Green. And he's going to do just that. He chases down Schrader onto the backstretch. And here he comes. The 3-time champion, the 3-time Daytona 500 champion, the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt to the inside of Ken Schrader. And Dale Earnhardt leads the Daytona 500. He's got teammate Jeff Green behind him. Bubba Nissen in third. But in fourth place, Rusty Wallace.
That was just kind of I added the crowd noise in that moment just because I wanted to celebrate Dale in that moment because,
he's looking good so far,
you know,
but still plenty of racing left
he deserves
to
it.
go.
And just something that
22 laps
I think would have been a really
complete.
nice touch to have in the
Catching
video.
Chad
So
Little, who
I'm glad
got
I
in
did that
tangle
part.
with Jeff Gordon, and that's gonna
I argue Jeff Gordon is
field up
unlucky.
as you see Bubba Nissen
Was
and
Moroso
Dale
zero
Earnhardt
Nissen too?
run away from the field for the time being. I'm sure the rest of the field will catch back up as Earnhardt stays behind the 59 of Nissen.
There's an illusion they're full, but it
Nissen
works
has
out
not
better for you
won
since,
since
yeah, you need to pump out as much as
1997.
possible.
A 100
Yeah, you know, like I said, if
winless
every race was
drought.
at
He's
100%,
looking to
you know,
snap that today,
I wouldn't have gotten as far as I
potentially
have for
winning
sure.
his
So
second Daytona 500.
I think for the
Earnhardt
system I
wants
have,
his
I think
fourth.
it
As
I
he
think
goes
it all
to the
works out
inside
pretty
of
well.
Nissen,
So
keep in
I
mind,
appreciate
the
you bringing
pack
that
will
up
chase
too.
them back down. We'll have to see how that's going to look when they catch him. But Dale Earnhardt takes the lead back here in the
Oh, I hate
Daytona
NR
500.
2003 SSAI because of
Start
stuff like what
finish
Chad
line.
did.
Earnhardt
Oh my god, yeah,
They
it's...
got quite the gap. Looks
Oh
like
my god, I hate it because it's like, I always worried it's going to affect the outcome of a race, right? And I'm like, no, I just want them to race it out.
inserting
I don't,
himself into
you
the
know, it's
equation.
one thing if like somebody loses the pack and they're able to just join in with the pack or whatever, but then you have a car that's damaged and they're just incredibly slow.
In the Daytona 500,
So,
won it her rookie year in 1997. She's looking to snap a losing streak as well. Could today be the day for Kelly Earnhardt? We're about to have a father-daughter 1-2 in the Daytona 500. Look at this. That's exactly what we're going to get here. Of the 3 Earnhardts.
What if you ran every race at 25%?
Jr. is also in that pack. Kelly Earnhardt, right behind.
I make the
her
Cup
father.
and Busch races longer just
Today
because,
will be
you
the
know,
day
in
for
real
Kelly.
life they're the longer races.
So much racing left to go.
Any
but
thoughts
this is
on
exciting to watch
Destiny
as
Spurlock?
Kelly Earnhardt dips
Yeah,
inside of her
she's
father.
been looking pretty good,
She's gonna
you
take
know.
the lead. She's got
Really
Kenny
excited for
Wallace
her, and
following her. Kenny
I
Wallace
hope she
joining
keeps
that
it up,
Celebrity
you know.
Motorsports
Really excited to
team,
see what
joining Dodge,
she can do.
battling as a
Really
sponsor.
excited.
Kenny Wallace looking for another crown jewel win. We have reached the halfway point, and now we're starting to see the leaders come down pit road for green flag pit stops, and this should take everyone to the finish. You see Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tim Steele, and Kelly Earnhardt all on pit road, as pit road is going to get busy as more leaders come on down. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to be running up front. Once this all cycles through, you see the 13 of Brian Refner. Dale Jr. gets done with his stop. Casey Elliott, Kenny Brack, Wally Dallenbach getting to work now. Their crew's going to work as they try to make picture-perfect pit stops to put them in position to win this race. Just about 30 laps to go. Up front is Rob Moroso, followed by Ernie Irvan. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is third. In fourth place is Robbie Gordon in the 27 for Eel River Racing. That small team, Robbie Gordon back with them again this year, going part-time. And now you see Gordon to the inside of Dale Jr. What a story could this be? Robbie Gordon's going to take second. Tommy Kendall up there in the mix as
If I
well
do an
as John
offline series,
Nemechek.
or
But Robbie
I don't
Gordon,
have access
the
to it. So yeah,
open-wheel racer,
I avoid plate races
can
as much
he
as
win
possible with my
the
fictional
Great
schedules.
American race today?
Gotcha. I mean, you know, it is what it is. I just want the races to play out the best they can.
Down the backstretch,
You know what I'm saying?
Moroso still leads. Here comes Steele. Here comes Kendall. They're going to go 3 wide for the lead into turn 3. Moroso, Kendall, Steele, 2 of those drivers looking for their first career win. Then you got a couple siblings back behind them, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kelly Earnhardt. What an exciting battle we have going on here. Tim Steele, a Busch Series champion, a 3-time ARCA champion, still hunting down his first career Winston Cup win. He's going to try and get it done here today with his new sponsor, Motorola.
Tim is him.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. gives him a push as Tim Steele, the Michigan native, takes the lead.
Tim is him. Tim is him.
The field has caught Chad Little again, and this will shuffle things up.
Yeah, like I said, it's
Dale
like,
Earnhart Jr.,
you know,
Tommy
Chad Little was in
Kendall,
that wreck, and
they're
because of
stuck
that,
on the outside,
you know,
and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
he's down on
loses
power.
a ton of ground.
He's not
The
really able to
17
keep up
doesn't
with
have
anyone,
quite the speed as the
and
other
just
leaders
kinda,
do. He dips down to the
you know,
inside.
just kind of
This
screws
is
everybody
really
else over,
going
and
to
it's like,
ruin their
ah!
chances to try and win
Just
the
want the race to
Daytona
play out
500.
as
Dale
normal as
Jr.
possible,
finds
you know what I'm
any way
saying?
around Chad Little.
So, yeah.
Under 20 laps to go. Looking back from the Haviland Chevrolet of Rob Moroso. Here comes the Burger King Chevrolet, one of Rick Hendrick's 3 cars. That's John Nemechek, still searching for his first career Winston Cup win. And I know for sure that Nemechek is hungry to finally get that win. That is going to be one of his biggest goals this
Little is
season.
pulling
is
us
to
some
finally
wallet.
reach victory lane. Can today finally be that
What
day?
changes would you make to the
However,
current
he's got
schedules
Ernie
for
Irvan
Cup,
right
O'Reilly,
behind
and
him in
trucks?
second. Moroso is there. Robbie Gordon is there. You also
know,
see Tim Steele and Kelly Earnhardt.
some people want road
Tommy
courses
Kendall
gone,
back there by himself.
but,
Can he catch up to the trap as we go back on board
you know,
with
I
Robbie
think
Gordon,
6 to
who could
8 is a
get
good
threat
number
win
to
this
have
race
for
today.
Cup. Just to have a really good, diverse schedule where we're going to
To the
different
inside,
places and stuff
Rob
like that.
Moroso.
So,
Of
I
course, he
think
had that heartbreak back
I think
in
that's important to
1996
help
that
grow the
cost him
sport.
championship.
so.
But can Rob Moroso
I would start there
finally
for sure.
win the Great American
And then
race?
see like what kind
This is
of
definitely
different new
one
things we
of
could
his
try
biggest goals
to,
in
you know,
his career
attract new
is
fans
to
of the
win
sport.
The Daytona 500.
I wish
15
NR
laps
2003
remain.
AI could avoid
Moroso
other
needs
cars
to
like
hang
pull out of
on.
the way.
There's still
Yeah,
plenty of racing left to go.
there might
Kelly
be
Earnhardt
something to
is
like
fighting back
remove a
as well.
car from a race, but I'm not entirely sure.
10 laps to go in the Daytona 500, and Richard Childress has all 3 cars running up towards the front. Jeff Green leads, Dale Earnhardt second, Rob Moroso is still up there in the mix. I'm sure RC has got to be feeling great about things right now. Could we see Richard Childress get one of his cars into victory lane? This is it. 5 laps to go, and we're going to take you straight to the finish. Rob Moroso leads. Ernie Irvan is second.
You can just
Battling
DQ a
for
car and
third
chat
are
if they're
Tim
going too
Steele
slow.
And Tommy Kendall. Lots of stories
Okay.
up front. A good handful of drivers.
I think you might be right on
trying
that,
to finally
actually.
check
That's a
off
good
winning
point.
the 500. Some just
All
looking for their
36
first
races at Texas
Winston Cup
Motor Speed.
victory. There is a lap car ahead. That
No,
is the
all
19
36 at
of
Kentucky,
Rudd,
'cause
they're
you
gonna
all
have to
can't
address that a little
behave.
bit.
I'm just
Tim
kidding.
Steele now goes for second. He gets past the 1999 champion Ernie Irvan.
I mean, okay, I'm showing bias. I would find a way to have it on a
Can he get the
schedule.
job done today as they head back to the
I'm
start-finish
sorry.
line? 4 laps to go here in Daytona. Moroso continues to
Oh
lead
yeah, Arca
as they
East.
head
Yeah, that's right.
one a look inside Moroso's car, and I tell you what, he's leading this race. These are going to be the longest 4 laps of his career. You just want to get to the finish and cross the line first. As the field approaches Ricky Rudd, who lost the draft, Moroso's going to get by. Tim Steele.
Let's do 34 road courses and 2 ovals because you all couldn't behave.
And if you're on the inside line, I think your chances right now are.
I mean, yeah, Road America would be back would be awesome.
The nerves that Moroso's crew have got to.
And I knew how the way this race ended. I was like, I have to do like the last 5 laps for this race.
To go. And that's still a lot of time here at Daytona. Tim Steele 2nd, Kelly Earnhardt 3rd, John Nemechek 4th, Bubba Nissen in 5th. On board with Kelly Earnhardt, who's always seemed to find a way to be up front towards the end. She nearly won it in 1999. Could she do it again in 2001? She's got a losing streak to snap. She's desperate to win, but so is the 51. So is the 6. Couple of guys there who have yet to win a Winston Cup race. How special would it be to get your first career win in the Daytona 500? It has happened many times before. Off turn 4. Moroso, however, still leads the way. He might be tough to get around. 2 laps remaining. White flag next time by. The crowd on their feet. Who is going to win the 500? Who's going to have a shot at glory? Kelly Earnhardt now up to 2nd.
Hey, Epic Memer, how's it going?
On board with the 14 again. Does she have
SVG would be a championship
anything for
contender.
Moroso?
Exactly. That'd be
She's trying to
perfect.
win her second 500, but look who is underneath her. That's Bubba Nissen in the 59. It's been 115 races since Nissen has last won.
Remember me,
and look
Robbie?
at this as they come to the white flag. It's 1996 all over again. Moroso versus Nissen. Here they come back to the start-finish line. White flag. Final lap of the 43rd Daytona 500. 2.5 miles to go. Who's going to come back around and win it? Moroso, Nissen, Moyes, Green, Earnhardt, Nemechek. Who is going to prevail? Here they come down the backstretch for the last time. Moroso trying everything he can to hold off Nissen. He needs half a lap here, but look at this. Nissen goes to the inside. Is Nissen gonna do it again? He's gonna pass Moroso. He's looking for a second Daytona 500. He's got help from Jeff Green. This is it. The finish of the Daytona 500. Off turn 4. It's been 4 years and the streak is over. Bubba Nissen wins the Daytona 500.
What a way to snap a winless streak.
Races and the winless drought is
When you're
over.
the second Daytona 500 too, it's like
Nissen has done it. And
I couldn't
what
believe when I ran this
for
race
Bubba
initially. I was like, oh
It almost
my god.
feels like deja vu
Bubba
all
carried
over
Pontiac
again,
on its
but
back.
Bubba Nissen is now a 2-time winner of the Daytona 500. What an exciting finish in what has been one of the most anticipated Daytona 500s in NASCAR
Here's the
history.
strange coincidence I talked about last stream.
What a race. An exciting race, no doubt. And before we move on to the rest of the season, here's a look at your top 10 from this year's Daytona 500. Bubba
Jeff
Nissen
Green
only
looks
led
washed.
2 laps today, but
Yeah.
one of them was the most important one of them all, and it was the last one. Jeff Green nearly got Moroso at the line, but ran out of time. He finishes second. Rob Moroso third with the most laps led. John Nemechek was fourth. Patty Moyes fifth. Kelly Earnhardt sixth. Tim Steele seventh.
Really love the way I
Dale
do those
Earnhardt
burnouts.
crosses the line in eighth. Ernie Irvan ninth.
I just kind of do them in
Tommy
test
Kendall
session.
rounds
That's why
out
the track
the top
looks empty
10.
in a way, but
This will certainly
it.
be
I like
a
how I do 'em.
Daytona 500 to remember. As Bubba Nissen has proven, he's still got what it takes.
of course in that
And now
one
let's check
stream
out
back in
how the
February
rest
I
of
talked
the
about how
2001 Winston Cup season
I talked about
plays out.
that entire top 9, even top
Ricky
10
Rudd
you can
scored the
argue.
first Dodge Winston
and just,
Cup pole as he started alongside
you know,
Jeff Gordon to kick
I
off
think we got the
second race
Daytona
of
500 we
2001
could have
season
gotten,
at
so
Rockingham. Rudd had a hot start.
there
but
was
that
just
clean
something
turned
about
out
that
too
group of
quickly.
drivers.
At
They all
16
had
laps into the race,
they all carried their
both
own
Sterling
new
Marlin
story in
and
this
Daytona
timeline.
500 winner Bubba Nissen got around the 19th. Rudd would fall back and finish a disappointing 23rd place. Marlin, meanwhile, led for a large portion of the race.
Oh yeah, RCA. Y'all see that RCA's back in NASCAR again?
The only caution the race
With
came out on
McDowell.
lap 61 when John Nemechek moved the 36 of Wally Dallenbach up the track and into.
And then a wreck like this happens, and I go, "Please don't hit anybody! Please don't hit anybody!"
No one else.
And I'm like, "Oh no!" 5 more cars got involved.
Everyone went down pit road for service.
Nissan is Moroso's sleep
after
team.
the restart. He had a charging Tony Stewart right behind him.
Tommy Kendall, unfortunately, since coming to Cup, really hasn't done a whole lot.
However,
But I mean, he's there.
And had to go down pit road. After a quick
We should
fix,
start filming
he returned
burnouts
to
in a
the
race
track,
session, including the
was
fuel
taken
going by.
out
What
of
could go
contention to
wrong?
win. This
Well,
handed
I remember
Lewis
one time I
Hamilton
accidentally,
Stewart
I didn't
and
realize
looking strong.
that I opened it up
However,
during a practice
another
session when I went to
driver
do
in
it,
search of his
and then it
first
said,
career
you know,
win was
you've been
Jason
disqualified
Gilda.
for reckless
That
driving,
being
and then I went,
43
oh
Gilda.
crap, whoops!
After the lap car of Rob Moroso got around Tony Stewart, Nadeau got to Stewart's inside and
They were also in
Jerry
trucks last
Nadeau
year too.
took the
Oh
lead.
yeah, that's right.
However, it wasn't going to be easy, as Jeff Green was on the move as well. Then around 38 to go, Nadeau had to let a lap car of Marlin by and got tight in turn 4, causing him to lose the lead to Jeff Green. While Jeff
My
Green
name is
was
Jeff.
leading, one driver had it down and was
Welcome
the
back, Sean
fastest
Andretti.
car on the track, that being Alan Kowicki. As no
I mean, the scheme
matter
looks
how many
awesome, though,
times
71.
Green tried to
I like
pass
it.
lap
I was
car
like,
after lap car,
RCA? Holy
Kowicki
crap.
was reeling him in, and with
been a while since I've heard
18
from
laps
them.
to go, Alan Kowicki took the lead from Jeff Green. Green
The
had
Polish
no
Prince.
answer for the Polish Prince, as Alan Kowicki went on to win at Rockingham. The season starts off with 2 owner drivers winning the first 2 races. Not only that, but Kowicki has now won a Winston Cup points race every year since 1988, a 14-year streak of winning at least 1 race a year. Tony Stewart is showing
a heck of a
rocket
streak
man
right there.
behavior as he started on pole for the 2nd time in this young season at Vegas.
Hey, Bruno
Race
Bites, how
had
you
a live
doing?
opening segment with several leaders,
I simulated the
including
1995
Stewart
season.
leading,
DW won the
and
500.
Blaze
Rick Mass got his
Alexander
first win at the
earned his
Brickyard.
first
Mark
laps
Martin
led
won the
Winston
title.
Cup car.
Nice.
as well as
Rick
Jeff
Mass won the
Gordon and
Brickyard?
Rob
That's
Moroso
cool,
being up
because
front.
he won the pole for the
They
inaugural one in
stabilized the
94.
win after the first pit stops, with Rusty Wallace jumping
I
to
met
the
Rick
front
Mast.
on the short
Pretty
pit,
cool dude.
and Green and Stewart having the best long-run cars. On the final run, Stewart got around Jeff Green in the long run, and Shauna Robinson came alive
Smoke.
to climb to second, but didn't have enough time to climb to the front. It's a first career win alert. The smoke rises in Sin City as Tony Stewart gets his first Winston Cup win at Las Vegas. At Sears Point, Paige Jones started on the pole and had to battle Patty Moyes and the strong rookie Blaze Alexander early. Things got interesting, however, when strategy split during a caution on lap 7, with Davey Allison stalling in the S's and getting rear-ended by Bobby Hamilton in the process.
Don't you love
Pit
NRX?
stops allowed Shauna Robinson to jump into the lead pack, and her pitting early in the second cycle of stops allowed her to jump to the lead. But with that said, Shauna's luck ran out during final pit stops as she got caught off guard in the cycle when another caution came out for Jeff Gordon.
Poor Jeff.
Paige Jones and a few others stretched their fuel to make it back to the front, including Blaze Alexander, who pushed Jones up the track on the restart. They were side by side with 6 to go and both low on fuel, with Moyes behind, somehow cycling back to the original top 3. Jones pulled back ahead in the chute and earned breathing room as he stretched his fuel and made it work. Paige Jones gets his first win of the season early, his second career win, both on road courses. Kyle Petty
How about
scored the
Paige
pole with
Jones?
John Nemechek starting alongside him for the 5th race of the season at Atlanta. Petty led the opening lap but quickly lost the lead to John Nemechek, looking to claim his first Winston Cup win. But on lap 4, Shauna Robinson took the lead from Nemechek. 12 laps in, it was a Sabco 1-2-3 as Kyle Petty challenged Shauna Robinson for the lead. Ernie Irvin was battling for third with Patty Moyes as Kyle
Why'd I
Petty
put
took
Presley
the
in
lead.
the 99? He did good for Diamond Ridge in
Then on
95.
lap
And Jeff,
21, Ernie Irvin
Jeff Burton was too
challenged
good at
Petty for the
Stavola.
lead, He wasn't able to make the pass.
Oh, excuse
30
me.
laps in, and Petty was
Ah,
challenged by
interesting.
Rusty Wallace, who scored his 5th title last time we were here. Wallace took the lead as he battled along with Moroso, Petty, Urban, and Stewart. Then we had green flag pit stops.
So something that's going to be done about that pit wall entry at the wall.
Back after pit stops, he would continue to
Yeah,
lead
I
at
just
the
don't know
next
what
set
to
of
do
stops
with
as
it
well.
yet. Like, I don't know what the
On lap
best
35, Patty
course of
Boyce caught
action
up to
is
Kyle
yet,
Petty and would take the
or
lead.
how to do
One
something
lap
with
later,
that,
there was
but
trouble as Kyle Petty
that's
broke
why I
down
kind of
suddenly, causing
try to
Bobby
put some water
Hamilton
barrels
to
there
run into
just
him
to
and third
make
place
it somewhat
Tony
realistic.
Stewart. Both
But,
Stewart and Hamilton had
yeah.
heavy damage, and their days were done. Alan Kowicki had the lead at the next restart with 25
Because obviously,
laps
yeah,
to go.
that is a little
Tons of
sketchy.
lap traffic ahead of the leaders. Behind Kowicki were the
Lower
two
Speedway of the
drivers
South
duking it
cars
out for
must
the
have been
championship
inspired from the
last
old
fall,
Atlanta.
as Shauna Robinson wasted no time to pull away from Wallace and build a comfortable lead.
I think it was inspired
But
off
the
of
saying
Bristol, I
goes
think.
that it's never over until it's over. Despite
water
that
barrels.
Robinson built her lead,
Yeah.
her teammate Patty Moyes had
Oh,
a
you know what?
rocket.
That
Her
reminds
car
me.
came to life right
I
as it
did
needed to,
make
as she worked her
some
way past
slight
Rusty Wallace
visual
and
adjustments
Matt
to
Kenseth.
Atlanta
Then
as
with 3
well,
laps to go, Patty Moyes caught up to
including
Robinson
those walls
and
on the
took
inside.
lead in what was a
And
thriller late
I
going.
did add like a
Patty
couple
Moyes
water
goes on to
barrels
pick
down
up
there
her
actually.
first win of the season, and for Moyes,
Although
this
sketchy's a
also
bit of an
marks the
understatement.
10th year in a row
But yeah,
where she's had at
I did
least
do
one
some
win.
visual updates to
The
Atlanta
Elliots
as
also had
well.
a great
They're
run.
small, but
Casey
kind of
Elliott
like the
finished
signage and
sixth,
stuff like
and
that.
Bill Elliott in
NASCAR
seventh.
putting a lot into ARCA East-West
Rob
on Tubi
Moroso
is
started
refreshing.
on the pole in the next
Absolutely.
race at Darlington, but the 3-car breakaway
I have a friend who
early
might be
was
producing
Jeff
this
Gordon,
race.
Patty
Oh,
Boyce,
that's cool.
and Tony
Nice.
Stewart. Boys ultimately cycled into
That's
the lead
awesome.
and pulled away from Stewart for a while, but lap traffic allowed Stewart to make his way to the lead himself, and also having a great run was Kenny Bragg, who worked his way up to third. Casey Elliott jumped into the top 5 during final pit stops, but
Los
fell
Angeles
back on
International
the final
Speedway.
run, especially after a late caution for Shauna Robinson being
I'm
stunned,
trying to think.
but she did
Because
continue
obviously, like,
and ended
the
up
design of
finishing
it was
15th.
based off the LA
We
Coliseum,
restarted
technically.
with 15 to go,
But in terms of the
Stewart
track
and Moyes
itself,
pulled ahead. Moyes looked to get
I always thought it was like another
bumper in the closing
Daytona
laps,
Talladega-like
Kenny Bragg
track.
suddenly having the fastest car on track.
How
and
Riverside
catching the
looked
leaders.
like, say, in
Both he and Moyes
2015.
ran out of time to make a move, and Tony Stewart gets the second win of his
You know,
young career
obviously finding
as he
ways
looks
to
be
see,
this year's breakout star.
you know, how to innovate the track moving
2
forward and
races
stuff
later
like
at
that.
Bristol, Jeff
How to
Gordon
make it truly
started on the
stand
pole
out.
and battled with Alan Kowicki
That's
and
a good
Jeff
question,
Green early.
you know.
With Kowicki leading,
Like I
he
said,
get taken
every
out and
handful of
wrecked
seasons
later
I'll be
in the race.
updating visuals and signage and stuff when it
Patty
comes
Moyes
to the
and Kelly
tracks that I've
Earnhardt both
edited.
had good runs, but it was owner versus driver. Dale Sr. and Tony Stewart battling for the win. Stewart looked for
Excuse
an
me.
impressive third win on the year, but his boss man passed him up with 15 to go and didn't look back. 1 week shy of his 50th birthday, and the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt, wins at Bristol.
Do
was
it for
quite
Dale.
the eventful one at Martinsville for the 10th race of the season, as Kelly Earnhardt and Jerry Nadeau led the field to the green flag. Kelly Earnhardt was looking good early, leading for over the first 30 laps.
Can't really draft when there's 3 cars on
By
the
lap
track.
34,
Yeah.
Kenny Urban took the lead from Kelly Earnhardt. On lap 48, Tony Stewart turned Jeremy Mayfield, causing Kenny Wallace and leader
Yeah,
Ernie Irvan
I love
to
the
get
paint
involved.
schemes that we all
Irvin
have.
was able to keep going.
we all
but
have
was
put
taken
together.
out of contention to win. At the restart, it was daughter-father 1-2, as Kelly Earnhardt led the field with Dale Earnhardt Sr., who turned 50 of the day of this race, in second. However, not too long after, Tony Stewart had another run-in, this time with Joe Nemechek. Right as the yellow hit, Jeff Gordon took control of the lead. A little bit after the next restart, Sterling Marlin took the lead from Jeff Gordon and pulled away. Rusty Wallace was able to work his way through the field and eventually found himself battling his teammate for the win. With 25 laps to go, we had some drama inside the top 10 when Rob Moroso got into Kyle Petty, sending the
apologize
42
for the yawning. Good
up the
Lord.
track. Then we restarted with 20 laps to go, and Ricky Rudd got turned by the lap car of Wally Dallenbach from 10th. Then Rusty Wallace bumped into Paige Jones, sending the 93 into the 22.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Marlin was able to correct himself and keep the lead.
Rusty nearly
Almost
taking
a
his
case
teammate out.
of Rusty nearly screwing his teammate over. Marlin kept hanging on, but on the final lap,
That's a
Rusty
teammate.
Wallace dove to the inside of Marlin, and they were side by side coming to the line, and Sterling Marlin wins by a nose. What an exciting finish at the paperclip as Marlin wins in a photo finish over Rusty Wallace. Here are the point standings after 10 races, as drivers like Bubba
I will
Nissen,
say there
Jeff
were some.
Green,
There were
and Patty Moyes
for 2002.
had
There were
points
some good
lead
finishes.
already this season. At Road America,
How did you make
Dodge
make
had their
Bristol
best
not a wreck
chance so
fest?
far for the first win
I tried.
of their
It's not the
return
default
to
Bristol I
Dixie
use.
on
It's a
pole,
track called Bristol
breaking up the
2003.
side. The opening of this
But
race
also
was quiet,
lowering
with
the
Casey
AI
Elliott
difficulty, I
pulling
guess.
away for a while, only being
The short
beaten
tracks, I
just
guess.
past halfway by
Yeah.
Patty Moyes, who took the lead in turn 3. But things changed quick during final pit stops when Patty Moyes made contact with
Ouch.
Erwin on pit road and lost the lead. This led to Casey Elliott taking it back with Jerry Nadeau right behind. And all this happened when the caution came out for a wreck in turn 1 involving Eddie Bierschwell, Bobby Hamilton, and Mark Simo in the 21. We had a 3-lap dash to the finish with several drivers looking for their first win or to break their streak up front. Elliott pulled ahead
Slight
on the
inconvenience.
restart thanks to Davey Allison making an aggressive move on Jerry Nadeau. He barely made it work and did slowly close the gap to the 94, but it wasn't going to give him enough time to reach his bumper. For the second year in a row, Road America gives us a first career win, and it's a big one. A Dodge returns to Winston Cup victory lane, and for the first time since 1996, an Elliott heads there too, as Casey Elliott.
When Alex is a
finally gets
millionaire,
his
we
first
should
career
put Sunday
win
Night Lights on
in
Tubi.
Wisconsin.
Yes, we should.
We now take you to the 2001 All-Star Weekend as we start with the Open. John Nemechek scored the pole with Dale Earnhardt Jr. in second as the 50-lap race was underway. A Nemechek was looking for a 4th straight Open win, but Ricky Rudd would chase down the younger Nemechek.
Something about the
to take
Nemecheks
lead
and
around
winning the
halfway
Open
point.
race.
Then with 20 to go, Kelly Earnhardt took the lead, but it came down to her, Ricky Rudd, and Kenny Brack. With 6 laps to go, Ricky Rudd got to the inside and would take the lead from Kelly Earnhardt.
And after we're done
Ricky
here,
Rudd would go on to win the Open
I'll stick around for a bit and chat
advance
more.
to the Winston.
And then
Hey now,
We'll-
you're an
we'll go
all-star.
from there.
Get your game on and go play. 21 drivers are lined up and ready to go for a shot to show up and get paid as the Winston Cup prepares to run at the
You guys
National
like what I did there?
Fairgrounds one more time.
reference an All-Star.
Rob Moroso and Shauna Robinson led the field.
Especially because that song was used
for
for one of the funniest parts of the video. I'm glad you guys like that.
Moroso dominated the entire first stage that took us to lap 30 and remained the leader after the restart. But after the restart, Shauna Robinson took the lead from Moroso and would then end up in a battle with Jeff Green. With that going on, the two Penske drivers in Sterling Marlin and Rusty Wallace were on the move. Jeff Green would eventually take the lead to the end of Stage 2 on lap 60. However, Green would lose the lead during pit stops to Sterling Marlin, a man who has spent many years racing at the fairgrounds. Marlin led the field back to the green flag.
At least there's
Did
not
what
a
he
soccer
could.
team
But
to
with
come in and
27
be
laps
like, we
go,
want to get
Rusty
rid of this
Wallace
track,
took
am
the
I
lead
right?
from Marlin, and he drove away.
Sorry, I had
While
to.
Eddie did all he could to chase down Rusty,
Shrek
but it was
cheer up
too
my
little
uncle
too
and
late,
American
and
General
Rusty
after
Wallace
Dale
goes
died.
on to win the All-Star for the first time.
Rusty is inevitable.
A clean and competitive race would wrap up the Memorial Day Triple for 2001 as Jeff Green started on the pole, with Penske having the best cars early, with Rusty Wallace, Blaze Alexander, and Matt Kenseth all running inside the top 10, plus Jerry Nadeau having a great early run. With that said, we had some new cars running up front as time went on, with Jeff Gordon and Patty Moyes having the best cars at the midpoint of the race. Kelly Earnhardt entered the picture with a good long-run car as well, but she didn't look like a threat
Shrek had
for
a lot of
win
weird food
until
times.
short pitting the third cycle and pulling ahead with the lead.
Joe Ruttman was
thanks to
driving the
some lap
33 in my
cars.
timeline for Leo Jackson, but he had a
Kelly
massive
Earnhardt wasn't as
wreck
fast
at
as Gordon and
Wilkesboro in
Moyes,
his Alpha
but she
15
was better in
races. Oh,
traffic.
jeez.
And on the final run, The time
Green
Boyd
ketchup,
and Moyes
oh,
had
yeah.
built on her got wiped away as the two battled hard for second, letting Kelly Earnhardt get around 2 more lappers. Kelly Earnhardt stormed onto the scene as a rookie with 2 wins, then just couldn't get any after that. After several runner-up finishes the past few seasons, Kelly Earnhardt finally gets her 3rd career win and snaps a 3-year losing drought.
Yeah, I was glad
and
Kelly
stopped
Earnhardt
Carr's longest night
finally got
with
another win, and it was at the
600.
600 of all places.
It was an exciting race, and it was one of those classic Michigan races. Rob Moroso started on the pole and looked strong early, but so did the Penske Fords, especially Sterling Marlin, as they were looking to grab a win at the captain's track. One caution came out around lap 40 as Patty Moyes turned Ernie Irvan coming off pit road. Irvan slid up the track. Tim Steele, Bobby Hamilton,
Beep,
Wally
beep,
Dahlback,
beep.
Kenny Bragg, and Blaze Alexander all got involved. With 7 laps to go, Jerry Nadeau led the field with Marlin second. Kawicki, Green, John Nemechek, Kendall, and Martin were there as well. Jeff Green zoomed to the lead with 6 laps to go, and he tried to hold on, but lap traffic became a
There was a
factor,
video
and
titled
this
"A
led
History
to
of
John
Bad
Nemechek
Shrek Products."
taking the
I should
lead
look that
coming
up.
with 3 laps to go, but he had a tall task if he wanted to win. Then with 2 laps to go,
If you also
Alan
didn't
Kawicki
notice, I
caught up
actually
to
added
Nemechek
some extra
and would
seating
take
for
the
Michigan
lead.
as well.
And while Mark Martin and Jerry Nadeau fought for second, Alan Kawicki would cruise
Just
to
to
the
kind of make
win
Michigan feel a
at
little more
Michigan.
special.
We've reached the 4th of July weekend at the Daytona Road Course.
Excuse me.
As Jeff Green started on the pole, but for the outside
We should have a
field sitter,
stadium
Kelly
race
Earnhardt,
at
things
Nashville
went
SC
south
Stadium to
immediately
annoy
on
both
the track
sides.
When Kyle Busch got into her, sending the 14 into the wall, coming off the chicane, causing her to flip, getting drilled by Tim Steele. It was a brutal crash for Kelly Earnhardt, but she was okay and walked away. And here's another look at the wreck as Kelly Earnhardt once again taking several big hits. And she is definitely looking forward to forgetting about this one and moving on to the next race.
Poor Kelly. That was such a bizarre wreck, and it just happened like first lap of the
Jeff
race.
Green and Patty Moyes looked to be favorites all throughout the race, but after a caution for John Nemechek, the one to benefit from the most was Sterling Marlin, as he worked his way past Shauna Robinson and Patty Moyes and would cruise his way to his 3rd win.
That
of
Game Boy
2001.
Advance kart racing game. Oh man, where do I start?
It has been a very competitive season so
Does
far.
the All-Star race
16
winner get a free
races
meal
in,
at Applebee's?
Jeff Green holds just a 25-point
Seattle
lead
had a stand that once
over
caused
Rusty
a
Wallace,
that
as the
once
top
caused a
2
minor
have
earthquake.
yet to win
Oh
this
yeah, like it
season.
registered on the
Patty
Richter
Moyes
scale.
sits 54 points back, Rob Moroso 68 points back, and Alan Kawicki 78 points back. This race also featured Kyle and Adam Petty, both driving paint schemes to promote the new Jurassic Park movie. We're back for the second time in San Diego as Rob Moroso scored the pole, but Patty Moyes and Shauna Robinson quickly took first and second after the start. Moyes led for a while until Jeff Green caught up to both of them and ended up battling Moyes for the lead. After the first round of green flag pit stops, Rob Moroso took control of the lead, and it pretty much stayed the same all the way to the checkered flag as Rob Moroso picks up the win in SoCal. On another note, Jimmy Johnson, who just won the Busch race the day before, finished 8th in one of his select starts.
We just had the
impressive
stupid
run
one
by
in
the
Dover.
Buffalo native. As we hit the halfway point on the season, we had a battle of long runs at New Hampshire. Rusty Wallace starts on pole as he looks to finally get in the win column despite being a favorite to defend his title off consistency. Rusty led early, but having a career day behind him was Dale Earnhardt Jr., trying to make a pass that he finally did before the first pit cycle. Dale Jr. had the best car of the day, but he had to fend off Patty Moyes multiple times, including a great side-by-side battle at the final stops. Drama unfolded late, however, with a caution with 6 to go for Bobby Hamilton and Rodney Orr. This set up a single-lap dash to the finish with Dale Jr., Patty Moyes, and Ricky Rudd in the top
That's right. This
3.
was Junior's first Cup
Rudd
win
made
here.
a daring move to try to take second from the start, and that allowed Little E to pull away. His sister returned to victory lane at Charlotte, and now it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. earning his first career win at New Hampshire.
Oreo lobsters. Yes, the giant lobster.
But the one
It's
that was dominating
huge.
early was the 42 of Kyle Petty, still searching for his first win of the season. He and Rob Moroso were the class of the field until the halfway point, when on lap 36, Matt Kenseth got into Kelly Earnhardt, causing them both to wreck. And as Earnhardt slid down the track, Jeff Green slammed into her. Another hard hit for the 14. But once again, she was okay after the wreck. We restarted with 30 laps to go when Dale Earnhardt Jr. led the way, with Paige Jones driving a special Sonic Adventure 2 paint scheme
Craven wanted
and
Dover in
Ernie
my mock.
Irvan
Let's
right
go.
behind him.
Nice.
Paige Jones, however, would take the lead from Dale Jr. on the
Shout out
restart.
to Rose
He
Jam
led
for
until
painting
lap
that car.
54 when we had green flag pit stops. Then with 10 laps to go, Ernie Irvan took control of the lead and was looking to cruise to his first win of the year. But he had rookie Blaze Alexander on his tail, and on the final lap, Blaze Alexander made the move to the inside going into turn 1, and he would take the lead. And the defending Busch Series champion, Blaze Alexander, goes on to get his first career Winston
I guess
Cup
you can
Series
say he was
victory
blazing
at the
his own
Tricky
path.
Triangle. We had
Sorry.
a very exciting Brickyard 400 on our hands here.
Will full
as
face
Kyle
helmets
Petty
become
and Shauna
mandatory?
Robinson led the field to the green flag.
Yeah, I would say at this point,
Petty's
yeah,
lead wouldn't last
full face
long,
helmets
as on
are
lap 4,
mandatory, and
Blaze
there's still the
Alexander
safety
took the lead
enhancements that
as
came
he was
along.
picking up where he left off at Pocono and was looking fast in the early going. Alexander led for a while, but after green flag pit stops, Tony Stewart took the lead. But then he would lose it to
Yeah, we had a good
Alexander
amount of first-time
and
winners in
then
2001.
take it right back. Rusty Wallace was also looking like a strong contender, but by lap 25, it was a DEI 1-2, as Tony Stewart led with Dale Earnhardt Jr. in
They
second.
just did a tribute to
Just a
Alex
few laps
Zanardi at
later,
the
on lap
Arcade race.
29,
Oh, that's
Dale
awesome.
Jr. took the
That's
lead
awesome.
from Stewart, while the boss man, Dale Sr., was in third.
So the thing with Rex is
Then on
like,
lap 31, Tony Stewart
number
took the
one,
lead
I do not.
massive
My
Indianapolis
number one
crowd
rule
was
is I am not
enjoying
killing
every
anyone
moment
off.
of the race.
Number
After the
two,
next round of green flag pit stops, we were
unfortunately,
under 4 laps to go,
sometimes
as Dale Jr.
there
had
are
a 2.5
wrecks that like
second
I
lead
can look
over
at and
Rusty
go,
Wallace
there's
and
no way
Tony
this would
Stewart.
happen in real life, or
Then on
just
lap
it felt
45,
unrealistic.
last year's winner, Rusty Wallace, chased
So,
down Dale Earnhardt Jr. and took
I
the
just
lead.
felt like I had to
Stewart eventually would
you
take
know,
second. Then with 5 to go,
say
Kyle
that, or,
Petty came from
you know,
out
I know
of
sometimes
nowhere
people will ask,
to
like,
take the lead
was that
from
driver
Rusty
okay? And I
Wallace.
say, yeah,
His
you know.
car was as fast
So.
as UPS shipping. Rusty Wallace and several other leaders had to pit since they were short on fuel, but in the end,
Especially when
it
the
was
AI
Kyle
just
Petty
decides to be
versus
kinda
Tony Stewart.
Dumb.
Stewart tried to find the opportunity to pounce, but never did. Kyle Petty goes on to win the 2001 Brickyard 400 in a thriller, and finally gets his first win of the season. 20 races in, and Rob Moroso holds a 37-point lead over teammate Jeff Green, but there was no clear-cut favorite, with Patty Moyes, Alan Kowicki, and Rusty Wallace all within 100 points.
I know in
Patty
real
Moyes
life in
and Rob
2001,
Moroso led the
Junior
field to
still
the
did the
green
open-faced
flag at
helmets, but
Watkins Glen,
switched
as
to the
Moyes
closed
took the
ones in
lead from
02, I think.
Moroso on lap 2 after a side-by-side battle. Then shortly after, Rob Moroso took the lead. Moroso was dominating the entire race until 12 to go when Tony Stewart ran into his teammate Kelly Earnhardt in the chicane, and while Earnhardt held her ground, Stewart went for a spin and got stuck in the gravel. This caused the caution to come out. The leaders did pit, and on the restart, Moroso, Petty, and Nissen went 3 wide heading into turn 1, and taking the lead ended up being Bubba Nissen. Nissen was then challenged by the 22 of Marlin, but Nissen hung on. And while Dale Earnhardt worked his way to second, it was Bubba Nissen earning his second win of 2001. What a resurging year for that 59 team. This is the second time Nissen has won at Watkins Glen, as he won here back in 1995. Matt Kenseth and Bubba Nissen led the field to the green flag to kick off the second Michigan race of the season, and the contenders halfway through the going consisted of the likes of Shauna Robinson, Jeff Green, Rob Moroso, Patty Moyes, and Alan Kowicki. On lap 46 during the second
An
round of
upset
qualifying
win
pit stops,
at a road
Dale
course?
Earnhardt got turned by Kenny Brack coming off pit road, sending Earnhardt up the track. And thankfully, no one else was involved. Jerry Nadeau led the field back to the green flag.
Yeah,
with 19
thankfully.
laps to go.
Because again, sometimes it's like car goes up the track, and you know, here goes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cars
in the
involved.
middle of the pack. Everyone was trying their best to avoid, but David Keith in the 57 ran into Tony Roper, sending
beep.
Roper into Paige Jones. Then Rick Mass and Patty Moyes ran into Kendall, causing a pileup in turn 2. Then Todd Bodine put on his ARCA brakes and slammed into Patty Moyes, sending her flipping and on her roof. Moyes was okay after the wreck. Shauna Robinson restarted
Like I said,
as the leader with
that wouldn't
5-0,
happen in real
and had to
life.
hold off the many late chargers, including Dale
How many
Earnhardt.
years would you say Nissan has
With
before he
2 laps to
retires?
go, Jerry Nadeau and
I still think he's got a
his
handful of
supporting
seasons
car
left.
challenges
Just-
Robinson
it just
for the
kinda
lead,
depends.
And Nadeau cleared her. Add another first-time winner to the 2001 season as Jerry Nadeau finally gets his first Winston Cup win at Michigan, driving the Petty 43. Two notable drivers at the top of the standings.
Yeah, it's
had
cool
yet
to see
win so far in
the Petty
2001.
43 get back in
That
victory
would
lane.
quickly change as Rusty
Arca for
Wallace powered
brakes.
his way past Davey Allison to win at the Bristol Night Race, and then Jeff Green dominated to a win at Richmond. Speaking of Richmond, this race featured the Looney Tunes cars for the Chevy Monte Carlo 400. A total of 7 Monte Carlos were made to sport the Looney Tunes look, with Rob Moroso teaming up with Bugs Bunny, Kenny Brack teaming up
And
with
like I
Daffy
said,
Duck,
this did come back
Dale
for
Earnhardt
2002.
with Taz the Tasmanian Devil, Joe Nemechek with Yosemite Sam, Tony Stewart with Sylvester and Tweety, Kelly Earnhardt with Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner, and Davey Allison with Marvin the Martian. Cars you can download after the premiere to this video. We had an absolute classic at Darlington for the Southern 500, and possibly the most exciting
Yeah,
race
that
of
was
the
a
season.
oopsie on my
Jeff
part.
Green
That was
started
showing
on
up
the
too
pole
early.
as he looked to go back to back, but had to contend with 2.
What would you do if
hungry
you
drivers,
somehow finished
Jeff
all the
Gordon
timeline?
and Ricky Rudd.
I guess if I caught up to like whenever the current time will be,
Rudd had
You
the
know.
best pace and led in the early going for
you know,
Dodge.
that probably won't
Soon
happen
after,
for a decade
Jeff
if
Gordon would take over,
I'm able to go
as
that
would
long.
Alan Kowicki. Kowicki had the fastest car in the first
I mean, you
half,
know, if I do, I
but
do.
He had an incredible
So,
moment that changed both their
you know,
days.
there's
As
still,
Kowicki
like,
and Gordon
25
both made contact
seasons.
going for the lead.
We're still like 25
They
seasons
would both
behind,
ride the
but
outside wall with damage, and we stayed green. But the two had to pit.
glad
immediately.
you guys love the Looney
Some
Tunes
damage
cars
was
as well.
saved for
But
the pit cycle,
yeah,
not much.
yeah.
Additionally,
And like
we
I
had
said,
a
the Looney
caution
Tunes
for
cars
Todd
will be
Bodine
back for
spinning off
2002.
Patty
So
Moyes, which
Coyote
took out
versus
local
Hackney.
cars,
I'm looking forward to that
including
movie.
Dale Earnhardt and Bubba Nissen. Casey Elliott was
Marvin
in the
Marsh,
thick of it,
Marvin the
but
Martian
had
should
no
be on the
damage
2
slowing
because
down
Rusty's
besides
performance
the
is out
wall.
of this world.
Ricky Rudd and Rob
But,
Moroso led for a bit before Ernie Irvin took the lead on the
It would be a hell of an
Irvin
accomplishment
had
to
stretched his lead greatly after pit
catch
stops
up with whatever the
before
current time will
pivotal
be.
moment of the race.
You know,
Ernie Irvin
I think
had
if I
caught
go
up
at the
to a
pace
big
that I do,
stack
I'll
of
catch up with
flappers
current
when
time
disaster struck.
probably
John
within
Nemechek ran
probably in a
into
decade or
Irvin's
so.
back as he brake checked,
which is
Irvin went
crazy
up
to
the banking
think,
and ended up
but,
on his roof after contact with
yeah.
Kelly Williams. The big wreck collected Irvin, Rudd, and a few others, with Moroso the first car
Boy, was this race
escaping
wild.
unscathed. But he didn't have enough fuel, and neither did the other leaders. This set up a new strategy for some to stay out. Over 10 cars tried to stretch it, led by Tony Stewart and Casey Elliott, who rebounded back to the lead
Did a
pack.
flippity doo-dah there.
Stewart was looking for back-to-back Darlington wins and took the lead from Elliott quick on the restart, running away from lappers with 22 to go. Casey Elliott had to stay on his bumper and be patient, but finally made his move to the inside with 13 to go, and Casey Elliott pulled away for a moment from Stewart. But in the final 5 laps, Stewart reached his bumper once again, but ran wide trying to make it work, and never got another chance. In one of the most dramatic Southern 500s in history, we had a
When will
driver
drivers like
who came
Earnhardt,
to a
Nissen, and
complete
Irvin
stop
retire?
in the first caution,
Just all
come
depends.
all the way back on pace
You know,
to score the
performance,
win.
age,
Casey
what drivers are
Elliott
coming up.
gets his second
That
win
kind of
of
stuff.
the season and of
I have
his
an idea for
career.
Racing Infinity. The
While
Biff returns to
Casey's point
Roush.
spot is
Drive
lower
the
than he'd
C60
like,
car for
there's no
2024,
doubt now
2025. A
that
good
he's
way to honor
finally
him.
arrived
That would be
on
cool.
the scene. This 94
I will say I do plan to
race
recreate the
after
program
the
graphic for
save
Looney Tunes
of his
again, though I
life.
haven't yet
He
since
was
there's
in
more
it,
urgent pieces
but
for
made
production.
contact with nothing but the wall and came all the way back. Despite the inconsistency, it shows that Casey Elliott might be the one to lead Dodge into the future. Another driver finally picked up a win this season, that being Jeff Gordon.
Casey Elliott's win there is
His
absolutely
race
going to be
had rough
would
first
absolutely be a
half of the
lightning
season.
challenge.
Now the team has been hitting their strides.
How would you like to
It's
see
put
this
Jeff
happen in front of
Gordon
you?
well into the top 10 in the standings. After taking an unexpected pause to the season, it's time to work on getting life back to normal. It was a massive crowd on hand in Martinsville, Virginia for the Old Dominion 500. Many cars in the field now sport the American flag or patriotic look. Everyone at the track took time to reflect on September 11th. Now, we get to the action. Shauna Robinson, along with Jeff Green, led the field to the green flag as a crowd of 85,000 plus cheered on. Robinson looked strong early as Kelly Earnhardt moved her way up to second, looking to earn herself a Martinsville grandfather clock. Then on lap 16, Kelly Earnhardt battled with Robinson for the lead until taking the lead on lap 18.
Yeah, this was a fun battle. Kelly Earnhardt and Shauna right here.
Then on lap 20, spun the 7.
And then here's your typical NR Martinsville wreck.
After pit stops,
Sometimes
Shauna
there's just
Robinson
so
took
many
the
of
lead
them.
back and led the field at the
What can you do?
restart. The next caution
Why did
came out
9/11
on
still
29
happen?
when Kyle Petty
Just
spun
because
the freighter.
it was a
Dale
non-NASCAR
Earnhardt,
thing, and
but both kept going.
you know, we made the decision to
After another caution, Bubba Nissen
most
would lead for a
keep
bit,
most
looking for a home-track win.
non-NR,
Then the lead would go back to Jeff
non-NASCAR
Green.
related
There were
events
some
still
cautions in
occur.
between, but we finally hit a long green flag run in the second half of the race.
All right, so since somebody just asked about
Shauna
this,
Robinson used lap
I'll bring it up.
traffic to work her way
Yes,
past Jeff
there will
Green
be the
for lead.
Muppets cars.
Robinson
I wasn't
would
going to
drive
bring
away
it up
after
unless
this.
somebody
There was
asked,
no
but
stopping
I'll bring
the
it up.
Kmart
Yes,
Pontiac.
there will be
With 5
Muppets
laps to
cars.
go,
We've
Kelly
been working on
Williams
those.
turned the
So
75 of Tammy Jo Kirk,
stay tuned for
come
those.
up, turn 4
So,
to bring up
yeah,
the caution
you will definitely
that
get the
would end
Muppets
the
cars.
race.
And I
with
think they
that,
all turned
the
out
field
pretty
came
well.
out, turn 4, and the American and checkered flags waved as Shauna Robinson took home the win at Martinsville. And finally, Shauna Robinson gets her first win of the season. And once again, she wins during the big moments.
She
With
always
Rob
does.
Moroso wrecking
That's why
out at
she's the
Martinsville,
megastar.
This now put Jeff Green in position to pounce to take the points lead, as he only sat 9 points back from his teammate.
Someone
Another
saying
driver
the
throwing herself
Muppets
in the
thing.
championship equation was Patty Moyes. She got white hot towards the end of the season as she picked up her third win of 2001 at Talladega, putting her within 125 points of the lead, while Jeff Green was only 4 points back. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Ricky Rudd led the field to the green flag to kick off the fall race at Lowe's Motor Speedway, but right away, Shauna
It's the
Robinson
Muppets
would
again.
take the lead
With the
by lap
Muppets
3.
again.
Then on lap 7, Jeff Gordon took the lead from Robinson, but that wouldn't last long as Robinson would take it right back by lap 15. On lap
The
27,
Florida wildfires.
Rusty Wallace caught up to Robinson.
That, I
He
think,
would
was a
take the
case
lead.
of something that I did not
First
take
caution
account
came
for
out
at the
around
time.
lap 58 when Mark Martin
and
got into
just
Patty Moyes, sending
didn't
her
really
and Ernie Irvan
cover
as
it a
all
lot,
three wrecked
I think.
in turn 3.
From what I remember.
Another separate wreck happened when Joe Nemechek sent Kenny Wallace up the track into Jeremy Mayfield, causing Bobby Hamilton and Rick Mass to run into him. Due to timing of the caution,
the biggest
first
single
and
race
second
comeback
place were
you've
at
seen
the
in
back of
SNL.
the pack, those being Jeff Green and Jimmy Johnson. Green had the lead.
Oh, gosh,
but
that's a
Jimmy
great
Johnson
question.
Would challenge him for a few laps. Green held on.
I'm trying to
until
think of the
green
top
flag
of my
pit
head.
stops,
I'm not
then
entirely
handing
sure.
the lead over to Jimmy Johnson, looking to shock the world. He did all he could, but on lap 114, Jeff Green took the lead from Johnson, and then green flag pit stops took place again. Johnson did get out in front of Green, but it was inevitable. Jeff Green took the lead back, and he would go on to cruise to his second win of the season with Jimmy Johnson in second. Patty Moyes continued her hot run, picking up her fourth win of the season at the inaugural Winston Cup race at Kansas Speedway. While her teammate Kyle Petty came up short at Gateway.
Yeah, I have to
with
think on
Dave
that. I'm not
Jones
entirely sure.
Picking up his second win of the season. As for Rusty Wallace, he would come up short of the triple header sweep, finishing in fourth. However, there was still plenty to celebrate as Rusty enjoyed getting to race and win in front of his hometown crowd in St. Louis. Moyes then won again at Riverside, while Jeff Green lost most of his points lead, finishing in 25th. Kyle Petty took home the checkered flag at Phoenix with just 3 races remaining. The title fight got more intense, as Jeff Green was only ahead by 22 points over Rob Moroso and 86 points over Patty Moyes. Jeff Green, however, would help his championship odds with his 3rd win of the season at Homestead Miami Speedway, putting himself at a 42-point advantage over Rob Moroso. Once again, a race that was originally supposed to be the season finale, but still had plenty of drama. Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt led the field to the green flag at Atlanta, as Rusty had a nice lead going early. Tony Stewart and Dale Earnhardt battled back and forth for second. 20 laps in, and Ricky Rudd found his way into the equation.
Talladega was turned into an intermediate for 1994.
On lap 33, the first caution
And
came out.
to me, that was a way of NASCAR implementing safety faster and sooner. And just this idea of what if there was just, super speedways becoming a big mess, and
50 laps in,
they decide to, take a step back and think about what to do with Talladega and stuff like that.
Suddenly having plenty of speed and looking to give Chip Ganassi.
Obviously, there may be some newer folks here who haven't seen SNL as much. There is SNL Restart that kind of covers, that will cover 81 to 97 as like a little bit of catch up and just a better way to present SNL in the earlier years. Will Texas World have lights for night racing down the line?
Jeff Green was 26th.
I'd say it's possible.
Moroso was 30th. Green was not in front of the leaders and had the opportunity to make up positions.
Something I could look into down the road.
Paige Jones took the lead from Moyes, but then just a few laps later, Moyes took it back, and then they went to pit. But then there was another caution when Ernie Irvan ran over Ricky Rudd and Dale Earnhardt made contact with Alan Kowicki. We restarted with 14 laps to go, and a complete shocker up front. Rookie Kelly Williams of Jarrett Farm Motorsports was leading the way with Paige Jones second and Patty Moyes third. Could Williams cause the upset today?
Running the fall race at Atlanta at night's kind of cool too. I like that it did that.
Dale Earnhardt wrecking.
You notice how there's no catch fencing in turns 3 and 4? I fixed that as well.
Williams did all she could to hold off Jones and Moyes. She was past a lap after the restart, and Moyes did all she could to get to Jones to maximize her points, but she falls short, and Paige Jones picks up his 3rd win of 2001.
Imagine trying to watch SNL with no experience. Who the hell is Bubba Nissen?
Patty Moyes is 77 points from the championship. Jeff Green has a chance at glory, while Rob Moroso's title hopes might have been dashed. Patty Moyes will need a little help, but as they say, it's not over until it's over. It's a chilly but nice afternoon in Dover, Delaware, as we are set to crown a champion in the first state that was admitted into the Union. It came down to Owensboro, Kentucky's Jeff Green, a man who took over for Neil Bonnet after his 1996 retirement and has done well, but now he's on the cusp of immortality. This has been a massive season for Richard Childress Racing. Could this be the big day for Jeff Green? Then there's Jacksonville, Florida's Patty Moyes. Many say she's in the twilight of her career, but she has shown that she still has what it takes to win a title. Can the one that began the female movement in NASCAR finally take home the sport's most coveted prize? Here we go. Ernie Irvan led the field to the green flag for the season finale at Dover. Irvan was able to clear for the lead, with Jeff Gordon taking second. On lap 15, Jeff Green went to the inside.
And like I said, Dover got the finale just because of how we ended up structuring the schedule, just because of the different tracks and everything. It just ended up differently than in real life.
Meanwhile, was running in 11th.
So instead of ending the season at New Hampshire, the season ended at Dover.
Lap 47 and would remain the leader afterwards. While Patty Moyes was running solid inside the top 10 all day, it was not enough to catch up to Jeff Green, who locked up the most laps led for 5 more bonus points. With 5 laps to go, Shauna Robinson ran into the back of
Your
Laura
timeline is the
Dahlbeck,
only reason I
sending
knew
them both
who Nissen
into the
is.
wall to
I think
break
that's
caution
cool
that
that
would end the race
a lot of people
and the
learned about
season.
him through this.
Jeff
And
Green capped off a
that's just
dominating
pretty cool.
as he picked up his 4th win of the 2001 season. And while Patty Moyes did all she could, running in the top 10 all day, it was going to be tough to stop the 31. And with this win, Jeff Green has captured the NASCAR Winston Cup Series Championship for 2001. What a huge moment for the 38-year-old as he captures his first championship.
Did you see Hocevar won the Texas
for
truck
Richard
race?
Childress Racing.
Yes, he did.
RCR sweeps
He
both
rode the
the
Dente
Busch
again.
and Winston Cup Series seasons with Jeff Green.
That was a pretty exciting
and
battle
Jimmy
between
Johnson.
he, Honeycutt, and
We still had
Ruggiero.
one race left with the International Exhibition, once again back in Rio. This race would once again feature the top runners from the Winston Cup Series, including some notable drivers.
Yeah,
such
I
as
admit,
Joe
I think,
Barron,
yeah,
Busch
the
Series
first race at
runner-up
Kansas
Johnny
was a little
Andretti,
overlooked,
Busch Series
but,
champion Jimmy Johnson,
you know,
and a
at
few
that
other
point,
Brazilian drivers,
the
including
video
Hoffman,
was
Chico
3
Serra,
hours long,
and once
and
again, Ayrton Senna.
I didn't want to make the video
Rusty Wallace
longer,
and Matt Kenseth led
so
the
it was
field
just,
with a green flag as the field
it's
of
tough.
28
I don't want to make
go
the
around
video
this Rio circuit.
longer than 3 hours, right? Just because at that
Matt
point it
Kenseth
just gets
took an
very
early
lengthy.
lead,
But
on lap 7, Sterling Marlin took the lead from
Bubba
him.
Nissen is so unknown. He didn't have a
Then on
Wikipedia
lap
page
11,
until I created
Bubba
myself
Nissen
for
took the
for a
lead from
college class.
Sterling Marlin.
Yeah.
On lap 22, Nissen lost the lead to Patty Moyes, but the window had opened for the first round of green flag pit stops. However, as she went to pit road,
Both
Ayrton
Texas
Senna
races
ran
won by
into the
Busch
back of
Wreckers.
Nissen, sending the 59 into the wall. Shortly after the restart, Ernie Irvan took the lead from Rusty Wallace, but then he would lose the lead to Casey Elliott, who then would lose the lead to Jill DeFerrin. Then by lap 39, Jeff Green took the lead. The next caution came out on lap 44 for Ingo Hoffman, Shauna Robinson, and John Nemechek getting together and wrecking in turn 1. The race restarted with Jill DeFerrin back out in front, and he was leading for a good while with Blaze Alexander eventually getting the second.
Jill DeFerrin.
With 10 laps to go, DeFerrin shoved the lap car of Kelly Earnhardt, and that sent the 14 into the wall. He went to pit road right as the caution came out. Casey Elliott restarted as the leader with 4 laps to go, but a couple of lap cars would get around him, as well as Kyle Petty to take the lead. Then taking second was his son, Adam Petty. Kyle and Adam Petty were able to hold on for a Petty 1-2 finish, as Kyle Petty wins in Rio.
I forgot the pace.
What
Just 1-2
an
in that race.
insane and memorable 2001 season as we take a look at
Is Bushwhacking
winners
going to get as
and
bad as it
final
did in the
standings
IRL
for the
SNL timeline?
2001 NASCAR Winston Cup Series season.
It's hard to
I'm
say.
sure will be a season to remember for
I don't
many
think
years
it'll get
to
as
come.
bad, but
2001 featured 18 different winners on the season,
Yeah.
with Patty Moyes collecting the most wins at 5, as she also finished 130 points from the championship from Jeff Green. Dale Earnhardt
I
also
really-
had a great season, finishing 5th in points. And
really-
many drivers
you know,
listed
sometimes
here
what I
are gonna
do
look
in
to have an
Vegas
even bigger
is
year heading into
I'll
2002.
use if I need to move like a
For
section of the
first
video
time in
over.
a decade, Richard Childress Racing has reached the mountaintop, and for the first time,
That's
they've
odd.
done it with a driver other than Earnhardt.
Because sometimes when I move a
The
certain
31
section of the
car
video
has had a
over,
unique history
right?
alongside the 3. It started with Dale's close friend.
wins it by
Neil
1900
Bonnet,
just 'cause you're
making a winning
Yeah,
comeback as a
I'll
teammate.
like
Then,
use
in 1997,
a
it was
text
passed on to a driver who drove
clip,
for Dale, Jeff Green,
put it above
now sporting Budweiser red.
all the other layers,
He won
highlight
early
them,
in just his 6th
or
career
so
start
I have to
at
do like
Darlington,
the
but had to
select
wait
all from
again,
one section to the next,
earning
and
his
then
second
kind of
win
move them
at
around
the
that way.
1998 Brickyard 400. Green's career started as a
Surprised-
consistent driver.
I'm not entirely
Couldn't
sure
get
how I
the
didn't
win
include the
column more than
winners
once
there.
a
That's
year.
really
But
weird.
Then in 2000,
How did I not
the
notice that
switch
from
flipped.
before?
With 4 wins, a total he matched in 2001.
I promise that is
including
something
the
I'm
race
going to
that
keep an
earned
eye
him
on
the
for
title.
this next
Last
video.
year, it was Penske taking both the Cup and
Such a
Busch
long
Series
video, and
crowns.
just
This
somehow
year,
I
it was
catch
Childress
mistakes that I
and a young star
don't
named
see until
Ford
later
in the
on.
Busch
So I
Series.
promise that
As the
I will
Intimidator turns 50,
do a better job at that
RCR
moving
is
forward.
in good hands, and one of his teammates
How did I
has
not
brought
notice that from
Childress
before?
back
That's so
to
bizarre.
championship glory. At the 2001 NASCAR Awards Banquet, Jeff Green spoke highly of the team around him. Dale and Richard have given me the chance to showcase my talent, and the folks on my team at Chevrolet help our team perform the same as the best. When you know
I wish I could
the
edit a photo of
opportunity to
Jeff
win
Green.
anywhere, that's good for a driver.
No one even
We've
mentioned
won
it
at
during the
every
premiere.
kind of track except the road course in the past few years, and soon we'll start winning there too. I'm blessed to be with this
I wish
team
I could edit
and
that
keep
photo to
winning.
make it look like he's in the
We're ready to
Budweiser
do
outfit.
so
It says
for years
31
to
and
come.
stuff.
Jeff
That'd be cool.
Green is 39 years old. That's the tail end of the peak for most athletes. But perhaps, just like his mentor, Dale Earnhardt, he can win races well into his 40s. And maybe he could even match or beat his 3 championships along the way. 2001 was an incredibly competitive season between veteran winners like Green, Earnhardt, Kawicki, and Rusty Wallace, who even in a down year still finished 6th in points. Yet at the same time, young drivers are slowly getting more consistent. Jeff Gordon finished top 10 in points again, while Paige Jones had a big step as a sophomore. Then, Dale Jr., Blaze Alexander, and Casey Elliott, 3 of the youngest in the field, each got their first wins. Now the question becomes, how long will it be before they truly take over? Just like real life, 2001 brought plenty of storylines. Dodge
31
won,
AOL
and
Chevy.
while they have work to do to reach the top of the point standings, Casey and Bill Elliott
well,
both
Dale would
made
have had-
improvements this season. Kelly
If it weren't
Earnhardt
for
and
that
Bubba
season
Nissen
finale in
both broke
87, I think
multi-year
Dale would have had
winning
4.
streaks in crown jewel races, no less. And while Rusty and Shauna's rivalry took a bit of a backseat, both got marquee wins. Rusty conquered the last great Coliseum, and Shauna took victory in the first race after September 11th. NASCAR is full of stars of all kinds, experienced drivers and young drivers in the making, short trackers and dirt racers, road racers that have become winners on ovals, and some that are new to ovals waiting to make their statement. NASCAR is a sport that changes more than one would think and always has, and that's okay. Every driver from the top to the bottom of the sport has a story to tell, and no matter what their history is, they could one day become an on-track hero. 2001 was defined by heroes, both the heroes we lost and the ones whose stories finally began. But in this timeline, it happens a little differently. Dale Earnhardt will see his story end on his own terms, and so will drivers like Alan Kawicki and Davey Allison. And when they retire, they'll each have a legacy to look back on proudly. Who will be the next man or woman up? Will it
Just
be
wait for
Jimmy
Dale to win
Johnson
20
with
races?
an even
Yes.
stronger push for his legacy? Will it be Adam Petty exceeding the hype as the 4th generation athlete? Names like Gordon, Kenseth, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. have shown potential and could one day become the face of the sport. Or perhaps, just like Bubba Nissen, Patty Moyes, or Shauna Robinson, the next star of the sport could be a driver no one sees coming. After all, every driver can be a hero. Thank you for all of your patience in the run-up to 2001. It's taken longer than we planned, but after making our biggest video ever, it was definitely worth the wait. We have created a timeline where any driver has the chance to be the next star of NASCAR. Any driver can become a hero. I have a lot of people to thank for putting this video together. As always, Jets Racing Designs and Rose Jam created most of the new paint schemes and graphics you saw throughout this video. Rose Jam also helped out with our team rating system and was the one who created the stock GT Dodge Viper and Super Sportsman Dodge Stratus template. Those new templates will be made available shortly after this video ends. The same will be done with our wide array of new paint schemes.
Have you ever
including
thought
the Looney
you
Tunes
will
Takeover,
make near a quarter of a
Jurassic
century?
Park 3 cars,
Yeah,
and the Patriotic
that's
cars
crazy.
in
I
September.
pretty much
Thank
almost
you
have
again
gotten to
to
that
Ferris
point,
for
right?
his work on our driver rating algorithm,
already
which
2
continues
decades
to
of
build
rewritten
each
racing
season.
history.
And lastly, special
It's-
thanks to Griff Dog.
It's amazing that
Not
I've
only for
gotten
being
this
the
far, and I'm
pioneer
very,
of
very
NR
appreciative and very
2003
thankful to
storytelling, but for
everything.
being willing to narrate the opening for 2001, a year we've seen quite a lot of content on. But after 20 seasons of rewritten racing history, we did 01 in our own way, and it lived up to the hype. We made 2001 about heroes, because NASCAR is full of them, even if they can't always be seen. And as the sport continues to evolve, heroes become all the more important. And there's no better year to
Let me
celebrate
learn how to
heroes
paint in Enter
than a
2003.
year where heroes
I just
were
downloaded
lost,
first.
but new heroes rose again.
Yeah, GIMP is a great program to use to paint
And
cars.
as part of that,
Make sure you use
become
layers for your
heroes.
paint schemes.
Every driver
Don't put
in the
everything
history
on
of
one layer.
racing is a hero to someone. It just so happens that some win more than others. And now, as the 2000s march on,
I've used your SNL
question
cars in my
remains.
timelines.
who
Cool.
will be the next
Nice.
hero to become a champion? This is Sunday Night Lights, and we're rewriting racing history 1 year at a time.
Huh. New heroes rise, like Carson Hocevar. Damn straight. Yeah, I'll say this: 2002 is gonna be a lot of fun. I think you guys are gonna love it. 2002 is gonna rock. So. Any estimation on a video length for 2002? I will say maximum 3 hours. I'll say that as much. So, yeah, there you go. So we taking a look now at 2001, and like it says, the story continues, and we look forward to 2002. So. What time is it? 10:12. Time flies. I'll stick around for a few minutes if you guys have any questions or anything like that. Oh, thank God y'all haven't caught on to Earnhardt taking over the 40. Oops, did I say that? Oh my God. I thought it was the 43. Oh wait, wrong video. Oh man. Didn't want to give too much away, but of course you will see Shauna's new sponsor in 2002, which again, I want to get this video out. Ideally would be within the next month or so would be great. So that's the game plan. So like I said, I've been filming and getting all that squared away. So I'll continue to work on that and all that. Who saw today's Kentucky Derby? Yeah, I talked about at the beginning of the stream. I had to make the correlation with Sunday Night Lights with that because it was the first ever female trainer to win the Kentucky Derby, which is awesome. Golden Tempo winning that, so which one of the three storylines for Fork in the Road is the craziest? That's a good question. Trying to think, stuff like Rock Racing was pretty cool. Adding Morty Buckles was pretty cool. What sponsors do you really want to include? Obviously, we got to be realistic of what sponsors were around for the time, but I would like to see if down the road some major sponsors stay in the sport and not leave, which would be cool, but we'll wait and see. So Gibbs still does not have a win in the Cup Series. That is correct. All but one horse was a descendant of Secretariat nepotism at its finest. Yeah, I think last year every horse was a descendant of Secretariat, from what I remember. What do you think has taken the longest about 2002's production? We really wanted to hit home with the driver ratings, especially in Cup, and just the massive amount of paint schemes, and also work's been really hectic for me for the last several weeks. But I think things have calmed down now, and like I said, I'm ready to go full on with this and get this video out and provide the best quality that I can. And it's crazy that I've taken, I've made essentially the length of a movie, if not longer, in 2 weeks or so, which is insane to think about. But yeah. But yeah, so Blockbuster. Yeah, I mean, if it's doable, it's doable. Just kind of depends. So, like I said, I think all the nooks and crannies are taken care of, and we're ready to get this video rolling. So, I'll do some more recording and all that stuff. So, Christopher Nolan has been real quiet ever since SNL 2001 dropped. Which one is the craziest? Hendrick to Toyota, Petty driving a 46 car in the 2020s, Earnhardt being president. These were all stories. Yeah, I remember that's what he talked about. Some of the ideas he had for that. So, I don't think I'm gonna do anything as crazy as that, but I think we still have a lot of great stuff planned for sure. So, what do you mean by driver ratings? So, basically, how do I explain it? We felt like there were some adjustments that needed to be made, and we ran a bunch of tests. So we spent a handful of days just making sure we can really hunker down on what was realistic and what worked the best. And it was all of us that, we all collabed on and made sure that, it worked the best. And we felt like that it did. So, and that's something that we'll probably talk about more once 2002 comes out and I do the post-premiere stream and all that. So, be on the lookout for that. But that'll be the plan. So, maybe Richard Petty becomes NASCAR's CEO at SNL. Are we approaching the rise of the field fillers? Well, we'll bring in part-time teams that make sense and, everything else. But that's more of something that we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So, or, we'll take a look and see, should we add this team in? Should we add that team in? And all that, but we'll get there when we get there for sure. Especially when we get to the mid 2000s and all that. I mean, then again, right now I would say we have a pretty competitive field in the in the Cup Series. So I'll give it a few more minutes here before I close up shop. I admit I'm starting to feel a little tired, and I gotta head back into work tomorrow morning. So all that fun jazz. Phoenix Racing, maybe. How many entrants again for 2001? I think it was 60, right? I'm trying to think here. Let me go back and take a look.
There we go. 42. I think I had like 51 for this one, I think. Yeah, D and Qs are already hard to manage. Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes it's like, I'll have a top car somehow not be in the entry list, and I'm like, okay then. 2007 Daytona 500, 61 entries. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Will the chase be included in 04? That's something that we'll all sit down and discuss as we get closer to that. So, all I can say is whatever happens, there is a reason to it, and we'll explain. So, whatever it may be. But I don't know what the plan will be, but it's just one of those things when we get closer, we'll discuss it, we'll talk about it, and then we'll cross that bridge when we get there, kind of thing. So, I know I say that up quite a bit, but it's just one of those things where we have to take things 1 year at a time and everything else. So, all right. Can't think of anything else to talk about. I think I've caught up with what I've wanted to talk about. 2007 Daytona 500 had so many entries because the Gen 4 cars were being sold for dirt cheap. Well, yeah, because that was when they started to transition to the car of tomorrow. But, why would Chase come in 04 when Chase Elliott started a decade later? Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah, Chase Elliott ain't coming in for like another decade or so. I wonder if down the road we'll eventually see like Chase race alongside Casey. If Casey's still racing by then. That'd be pretty neat. Rusty Wallace is Godzilla. Does that mean Shauna Robinson is Mothra? Maybe. So, oh man. Well, I just want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate all the support as always. Like I said, I'll continue to work on stuff, record audio, record everything really, and get the video worked on as soon as possible and everything else. So I'll keep you guys updated and listed, but the plan again is to get this video out as soon as possible and hopefully within the next month or so. So I'll let you guys know, and when I can figure out a definitive release date, I will give that to you guys as soon as possible, as always. And then once that video comes out and everything's taken care of, we'll move on to 2003 and go from there. So, how did this turn into a movie fight scene? But yeah, it was great chatting with you guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This was a lot of fun. It's great getting to talk with you guys. So, stay tuned. I'll talk to you all again soon. And, enjoy the Cup race tomorrow as well at Texas and all that fun jazz. And y'all have a good night. So, again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I will see you all next time.